Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wargaming.net League 2017 fall season. I'm James Rockstar Grief, joined alongside by Randall Ruko Holcomb. Today is Matchday 10, one that'll hopefully be closer than both me and Randall expect to be.
Yeah, because today it looks like a day of 5 zeros, complete blowouts. We've got some one-sided matches for you. Hopefully we can turn these into some educational lessons for all of you out there.
At the very least, upset potential is at its highest. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Now we'll get back into the matches in just a minute. Let's go ahead and go over a few things first. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at WGLNA and also on Facebook at facebook.com/WGLNA. For the Facebook Live pre-show, we go live every single match day at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. Give you guys all the fantasy advice that you could ever ask for, and or just questions about the league or anything else. It's all there. You can just come and chat with us, me and Randall, some other production
just whatever
staff.
you want, whatever you want.
Yeah, we're here for you guys, so make sure you guys tune in and check it out.
Yep, and of course, head on over to fantasytanks.com where you can participate every day to win prizes like Type 59s and piles of gold. And of course, at the end of the season, the best of you guys out there will be taking home some prizes as well. So, James, with that, let's get down to business, sir.
Yep. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings to see where we sit going into match day 10. Elevate now 9 points above Dare Rising in second place. Elevate just need a couple more wins to guarantee them that first place spot in the automatic bye to the offline final.
It's pretty set already.
It is, but the formality still has to be done.
You're right. You're right.
And then we have Dare Rising and Eclipse neck to neck for that second place spot. They're going to be really wanting that second place spot because that's the other offline or automatic bye to the online or offline playoffs. Excuse me. So then we have after that Top Tier and Teal Team 6 starting to pull ahead, and then Aquatic M60s and F7 still fighting for that last place spot for the online playoffs. Remember, online playoffs will be 3rd through 6th. We'll play each other, and there are only going to be 4 people or 4 teams that go to the offline playoffs. And so far, it looks like Elevate and Dare are going to take 2 of those, and then the last 4 have to fight over the last 2. And then poor 07 sitting down there on only 3 points. They really need to get something going quick if they want to have even a small chance at getting into the playoffs.
Yep, and of course, let's look at today's schedule and how that will impact those standings. We've got first up Aquatic versus Eclipse. Second match will be 07 versus Elevate. Offline will be Teal Team 6 versus Top Tier. And your other offline is F7 versus Dare Rising.
So if you notice how all these matches are, they're pretty much clear favorites in every single one of those matches, except for maybe Top Tier versus Teal Team 6. I think that's the closest of all of them. However, if Top Tier show up like they did on last match day, Teal Team 6 are going to be in for a very short night.
Yes, that's generally what it looks like across the board. A lot of one-sided matches. It's a high seed versus low seed kind of day.
Yep. Now let's go ahead and talk about our first match, which is going to be Aquatic M60s versus Eclipse. Aquatic M60s. Mr. Man is pretty much been a one-man show this season. One of the highest average fantasy point scorer in the whole league, let alone his team. Pupil has been doing what he can to help carry since he joined the team. Feel My Potato, Marsh, everyone's been trying to do their part and come together, but something has just not been clicking for this team this season.
Yeah, they've been struggling up against the teams which are just more organized right now. And we'll have to see what they can do if they're going to turn things around. Looking at the other side, Eclipse, traditionally our second place team, right now sitting just barely in third, led by T1 Diabetic. We're going to be looking at positive. I know Ledeff's not expected to play, correct? Usually on the bench.
He's been riding the bench. EXO has earned the starting spot from No Nick, No Skill as of recently. We talked about that on Tuesday with T1. Said pretty much EXO's just been playing between the language barrier not being there, EXO just speaking English natively. And the fact he's just been playing well, he's kind of earned the starting spot. So No Nick, No Skill is back onto the bench.
Yep. So Eclipse right now. Let's talk about they're expected to be the winners tonight.
Yes.
They're hugely favored. So let's take a look at these maps and see if there's any chance for Aquatic here. So first off, we've got Mines and Murawanka banned out.
Yeah, no, kind of surprising to see M60s ban Mines, but that's kind of been a common trend this season. In seasons past, it would definitely have surprised me. Seeing it now, not that big a surprise though.
Yeah, it just hasn't. I guess they've kind of decided maybe it's not as reliable as it has been in the past, or they just don't prefer it anymore. Ghost Town. Looks like it'll be picked up as map number 1.
Eclipse's playground, essentially, so that could be a rough start for for M60s if they're not careful.
Now Prokhorovka. Aquatic gets to defend first there.
Prokhorovka is another map, though, that Eclipse has looked very good on recently, especially they went 2-0 versus Elevate. I mean, they seem to have that map down.
They do, and that's where you should be worried about Aquatic. Moving on, Cliff and Ruinberg are going to be banned out
Nothing
again.
too surprising out of either of those. Neither of these teams have been particularly great on either of them.
Although, looking at mines in the past, Cliff, I always kind of liked watching Aquatic on Cliff for a while. They have given us some fun matches in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Himmelsdorf and then Sand River. Now, Himmelsdorf, if this starts off a 4-0, that's going to be Eclipse defending first on Himmelsdorf.
So chances are it would end there if it's a 4-0.
That is a tough, if it's a 4-0 at that point. That would definitely be lights out for M60s at that point.
Or, incredibly thin chance that they'd come back from there. But if they did, we'd move on to Sand River.
That is a map that neither of these two teams have played a lot this season. Eclipse has played it a few times, including against Elevate. Didn't really have much success on it. We'll have to see how they'd fare versus Aquatic M60s. And then Ghost Town, the tiebreaker. If we got that far, it'd be a repeat of map 1. So, once again, I think this will end by Himmelsdorf, though. I don't see this, at worst case, a 5-1. Just knowing those first two maps, I think that's just a task too far for Aquatic M60s.
Okay, well, and I guess let's reveal our predictions for the matches.
Yeah, no surprise. I mean, I'm sticking to it at this point, especially knowing the map. So it's 5-0. I just don't see much of a chance for M60s. I want there to be a chance. I like the guys at M60s. They're a good group of guys. Mr. Man has been phenomenal, but it's just not gelling for them, and I haven't seen anything that says, hey, they have it all of a sudden. Not like that top tier that showed up on Tuesday. If they have one of those match nights, I would love it, but I just don't see it happening.
I'm going to be looking for a 1-5 is the area that I'm looking at. I don't think that a 0-5 is necessarily what we're going to see. I think that Aquatic can possibly pick up a win or two here. And today's the day for them to prove that they've done the hard work if they have to.
My question would be this then. Yeah. Where do you think in the first 3 maps would M60s pick up that point?
Yeah, so that's the big question. If it wasn't for Prohorovka and how Eclipse seems to have it down as well as they do, I would have chosen that.
Yeah, no, it's still a possibility on Pro. If they hit them at the right time, catch them in rotation, they could pull something out there if it was going to happen, but still, Eclipse just, I don't think they're going to make any monumental mistakes like that it's just going to give a game to Aquatic M60s. They'd really have to show up and earn it.
Yeah, although I would not be against being surprised. I'm always willing for Aquatic to show us that they've done the hard work and that they've practiced for this match and that they'll take a win. And if they do that, that's awesome. Yep. Then if they'll end up much like top tier, where we had low expectations and they really turned that around on us, we'll have to see.
Well, let's see what the captains say as they're going to go ahead and join us on the face-off. We have Mr. Man and T1 Diabetic joining us. How are you guys doing today?
Good, yourself?
Yeah, I'm good.
Pretty good. All right, Mr. Man, we're going to start with you. Last couple times we've talked to you, you said that your team had a lot of problems and that you were trying to solve issue by issue one at a time. What's today's main issue or the last couple days that you've been working on? Well, what are you guys doing to address that main problem you're kind of focused on right now?
With what happened on Tuesday, it's definitely making sure we finish out matches because we were up 4-1 on F7 and they ended up coming back and winning the tiebreaker. So
just lack of focus?
Yeah, I think people just kind of, getting done too fast and then just not finishing the match out. So
kind of checking out.
Yeah.
All right. Now, T1, last time we talked to you was before the match versus Elevate. That obviously did not go your guys' way. You look really good on Broke, but outside of that, you guys struggled. What was your overall takeaway from that match?
Just have to get better on other maps. I mean, we think we played a lot better than we did against the first match against them, but it's just some of the mistakes that we made it's not going to work against them. So that's it, and just don't make mistakes, and we'll be fine.
All right, so you think it's mostly just down to just individual mistakes?
Yeah, just individual personal mistakes.
All right. Mr. Man, map pool, where you're kind of talking about it, we don't see it really favoring you guys. Why are we wrong?
I think the past couple match days, we've been doing a lot better on Ghost Town. Proc, we'll see what happens. We feel fairly comfortable on it. Obviously, Eclipse has the statistical record of being one of the best on it, so we'll see how that goes. But same with Himmels. We feel like we've been doing better on it recently. So.
All right.
Well, I don't have anything else. You got anything, Randall?
No. T1, anything for Aquatic for today, sir, before we let you go?
No, just good luck, have fun.
All right, Mr. Man, anything for your opponent's Eclipse before you hit the battlefield?
Same thing. Good luck, have fun, man.
All right, thank you guys for joining us on the show. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right. You always want to, see if they'll say something spicy, but they're just too good to each other.
I need Pupil for that.
Yeah.
That's the main one here. You got to remember, Pupil used to play for Eclipse. Now he's on M60s.
Hey.
So it's going to be playing against his old team.
He would have been fun to bring up today. But anyway, so I think I like actually that last question you got towards Aquatic, because one of the things that is really hard to tell, of course, is are they truly improving on a map? Do they think that they're improving on a map? Because very often, if you think that you're good at a map, you're going to play a little bit better. I'm not talking about overconfidence here. I'm talking about, of course, that little bit of confidence you need to understand that you can, in fact, win.
Just gives you that, options. You don't hesitate. You go, okay, this is what we're doing. We'll go for it. You just do it, and that kind of gives you some edge sometimes. Where a map where you're not as comfortable or you kind of struggled on, you kind of sit there just as a player, not even necessarily as a caller, but just as a player, you kind of go, all right, well, what should I be doing? There's typically something you could be doing, and sometimes you're just a little bit too slow because you're like, well, this didn't work out last time. Am I sure I want to be doing this right now? And it can kind of just hang over them a little bit. It happens to everyone.
Yeah, it from time to time. And we'll see if that comes up. If you see that hesitation, that might come out here in various plays. You'll have to see where those openings exist, what information is presented to Aquatic, and if Eclipse is actually going to allow for those mistakes. Because that has been a running theme for them.
Yep.
Every time we ask Eclipse, hey, what's the deal? What's going on? What do you guys, why did you lose here and there? They usually are going to wrap that up to mistakes. And you can see it in their gameplay. It's these little choices that the players will make that end up biting them. And without getting too far into that, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong.
Well, it happens to everyone. Even Elevate, a couple matches ago, especially versus Dare, a lot of individual misplays, missed shots, a little bit of RNG. So it happens. Everyone can have one of those off days. So we'll have to see what happens with Eclipse. Now, the reason we talk about it with Eclipse is because it just seems to happen more often than not with them. They've been a team that's been very strong for the last couple of seasons, last 3 seasons now. But they haven't been able to beat Elevate recently. So today, though, we need to focus on Aquatic M60s because they need to keep that pressure on to Dare to get that second place spot. Moving into the first battle, Aquatic M60s, 2 mice, a T57, 3 5As, and a Bat Chat. Eclipse, a mouse, 2 T57s, 2 Type 5s, a 5A, and a Bat Chat played by Positive. Mr. Man squaring off versus the Bat Chat. Both teams' MVPs squaring off versus each other. Positive has very quietly crept up to be Eclipse's top fantasy point scorer, or average point per game anyways. He started off the season kind of shaky. Didn't, a lot of people picked him on fantasy and he didn't quite perform, and then he had a few match days where everything just started to click. He kind of figured out the rest of the team, figured out how to perform, and he's been putting up some pretty insane numbers recently.
And he has opening moves. We're seeing normal movement for Eclipse as a defender. Bat Chat's going for scouting runs. That's Positive, going for a loop. Opposite of Mr. Man, and the major motion out of Aquatic right now looks to be 5As heading towards the 1 cap. So fast cap looks like the main plan here for Aquatic in battle number 1. Not a bad way to start, but 2 T57s are going to find those 5As, and the engagement will begin.
They're going to get to only taking 1 shot for a toll. It's actually a pretty good toll against 2 T57s.
Honestly, not bad. Looks like they're going to take those opening shells and decide to, after firing initially, back off, reload. And some nice shots from Morphic Felix and Giggles towards that Type 5 played by Photo Finish. Liking that play a lot. At the same time, it looks like the Mouse squad with T57 backup is going to go around for a flank instead of taking that traditional corner. Marsh is going to open up in his T57, forcing Dark God Zim to back up a bit, while Pupil and Cheese move up. Nicely played from Aquatic.
Dark God Zim taking a lot of damage, down to 1,200. It's a good opening volley.
Yeah, giving a lot of credit here to Aquatic on their timing. Those mice stayed hidden just long enough for it to matter so that they could get free damage
and
into
some
Zim.
Big resets come in from the 5A of Germ onto the cap, and that's going to start slowing things down. And now the HE shells from Photo Finish and T1 Diabetic also coming in, and that's going to be one of the 5As just completely dead all of a sudden. I didn't see if that was an ammo rack. It doesn't look to be, but he takes a lot of damage, goes down quickly, and now Aquatic M60s are not looking so hot. These 5As need to find a way to get into the fight since cap really isn't an option. Mouses are going to push around onto the mouses of Eclipse, trying to go for the trades.
5As getting off the cap, just like you said. Just in time for Photo Finish to be in position to try and do anything about them. They'll be able to shift over and join those T57s and mice on the south side as maybe pressure moves its way over to the 2 cap.
And Mr. Man fired a couple shots in that Bat Chat, didn't really get too many connections, and he just chose to drop his clip and drive away.
Looks like he's going to flank.
But now Positive, fully loaded Bat Chat, he's coming full speed. He may just come in here and break the turrets for Aquatic M60s, and this may be Eclipse just trying to go for the kill right now.
Maybe just. He's waiting around the corner. Germ Looks like that's it. Positive moves in. Begins firing on Big Cheese. He's got his broadside open. 2 more shells possibly to finish him off. 1 more. That's it. Big Cheese is down.
And the mice in Type 5s are going to start pushing around. They're going to focus out Marsh first. He's down to a 1-shot. He goes down. Pupil the next one. All the guns focusing on him from 2 different angles as Photo Finish comes in on the low side now. And this is not looking good for Aquatic M60s as they are falling 1 by 1. Now they may find Dark God Zim here in a second, but Pupil should... no, Pupil will get the reload first. But it looks like Photo Finish should have the shot shortly. He's trying to go through. Positive still on reload. T1 Diabetic just deciding which person he's going to put out of his misery next. Mr. Man just trying to get away. T1 looking for the shot with that HE gun.
Oh, Drawcat misses a crucial one. Gets Pupil though. And Mr. Man is left alone, and oddly enough, he was at full health.
Yeah, Positive's going to block, and Germ's going for the Goomba, doesn't find it. Photo Finish is trying to line up the shot. Gets a nice connection, but Germ ends up with the kill. And that is going to be a 1-0 victory for Eclipse, putting up an early game on to Ghost Town. So, have Aquatic M60s improved on Ghost Town?
Hard to tell at this point. Opening strat was fairly straightforward. It wasn't super inventive. It wasn't bad or anything, but it clearly didn't catch Eclipse off guard. Eclipse didn't go for a strat outside of the normal. They set up for a very standard defense. And with that, I think that it was perfect for dealing with what Aquatic brought.
Yeah, well, the main thing with that sort of strat, you're never going to win the brawl. If you're going to win that, you have to bait the other team into the guns. And the problem with that is you need to make sure they can't get the resets. But you saw how easily Eclipse got those resets on those tanks on cap.
Yep. And then I have to give some credit to Aquatic. There were some solid moves here and there. The way that 5A's decided to get off cap was coordinated. It was together. There were things to appreciate about the way Aquatic went for things, but Eclipse had a good handle on the situation. They knew what was going on. They knew where everything was for the most part out of Aquatic once initial engagement started.
Yep, and Positive, sorry to cut you off there, Positive coming in here, 4,300 damage, 3 kills, 127 fantasy points to start off the night. Photo Finish in the Type 5, another 3K, 54 fantasy points. Then Drawcab in the T57, 2,700. Probably had a few resets in there for 72 fantasy points. And it starts going down from there. T1 Diabetic, 2K in that Type 5. Mr. Man, 2,300. Felix, top damage dealer for Aquatic M60s.
There we go. And looking out down the second page, ooh, Morphic in the 5A did not get to deal any damage at all.
He was the one that got deleted on cap. I still didn't see exactly how he died on that cap. I think it was just sheer volume of fire. I don't think anything insane happened. Maybe a pen from one of the Type 5s, but...
He just got taken down pretty quickly.
Yeah, he just went down. No, yeah. That's what I'm saying. He went down fast. So.
Yeah, well, the Bat Chat, Positive, he was a part of that. Going up, do you know where you don't have to see a Bat Chat do this, but... on defense side, the hills on the backside of your cap, you just go up there in a bat chat, and he just sniped out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that makes more sense because I thought I didn't see Positive back there, so I didn't see if those resets came in.
There was no possible damage from really anyone else. It was that combined with a 5.
Well, that's why I was wondering about the Type 5, maybe getting an insane penetration on a hold-down tank. However, we move on to battle number 2. Aquatic M60s, 2 mice, 2 T57s, 2 5As, and a bat chat. Eclipse, 2 mice, T57, a Type 5, 2 5As, and a bat chat of their own. Very similar lineups. The only difference here is opting for that Type 5 while they're on offense.
Yep. Nothing crazy there. We'll see how they both stack up. It's a good 16, almost 17k up for Aquatic. Eclipse just sitting on solid 17k hit points. There's plenty of damage to be dealt, and nice slow lineups for both teams with a small complement of mobility. Mr. Man, though, in that bat chat, I'm looking at his opening scout run. It's going to look towards the 1 cap, so Aquatic checking. They should be able to spot Positive in a moment. Yes. And that's a crucial bit of info. That bat chat being spotted, we know where he is. That means Aquatic knows that, well, at least he's not to the southwest. It doesn't look like Eclipse is going to go with the southwest strat. So they'll be able to more confidently set up to defend for 1 cap pressure, which it looks exactly like what Eclipse is going to really go for here.
And they're putting a lot of tanks towards that middle courtyard there. No one even crossing on the cap yet. They do have the 5A and the bat chat over on the 0 line, but the mice, T57, and another 5A just getting in position right now, trying to secure a path to the cap so they don't have to pay that toll. As Photo Finish looks like he's going to make his approach now. However, Big Cheese may spot him in time to get a shot or two of damage off.
Maybe so. Ooh, there's a missed shot right over Germ's head. Looks like that might have been from Morphic down the way. Big Cheese looks like he's going for something. At the same time, pressure on the other side of the map isn't that much higher.
And Photo Finish is going to get across on the cap. without taking any damage.
Nicely timed. Waited for crucial shots to be fired, and there, even a little damage going on to Big Cheese. It's not bad at all. So right now for Eclipse, this isn't looking horrible. It's a little slow. Type 5's moving up finally. And the pressure in the middle of the map right now between the main tanks of Aquatic and Eclipse, those mice, isn't progressing too much farther. So this might take a few minutes to resolve, but right now Aquatic's going to be looking to put defense onto the 1 cap, start getting resets in, make it impossible for Eclipse.
Photo finish. He drops his shells. He'll start loading some HE. Tired of dealing with his mouse, so he's going to start firing the HE at him. However, he then offs back to Heat. Nope, now he's reloading HE again.
And now we got a 1v1 Bat Chats on the side flank right now while this fight's going down. Positive versus Mr. Man. Those two bats squaring off. At the same time, push is happening on the other side of the map.
Yeah, they're pushing in, and they're going to go for Photo Finish, who's going to back off. Teammates are going to help cover. T1 Diabetic's going to get a nice penetrating shot onto Giggles, put him down to a 1-shot. They managed to kill him, but Photo Finish is going to get focused out by the 57 and the 5A of Marsh. He goes down, and this is decent for M60s, but Eclipse are still in the better position. They have more guns and more HP up alive, as the mice and the T57 for Eclipse are going to push around onto Pupil.
Yep, and at the same time, on the other side of the map, Batchat Positive beats Batchat Mr. Man, and that's going to give Eclipse more of an edge. They have all of the mobility now, and that's going to be control. It's a matter of time, in my opinion, before Eclipse is able to finish off Aquatic in this battle.
Well, Positive, if he gets in here and can get some shots off onto Morphic and Marsh before they can really close, that could be even more trouble. And 57 and 5A look like they're going to close. They know that there's some low HP tanks around here, especially Germ. He's down to a 1-shot, essentially. Photo Finish went down really quickly earlier, so that's a 5A they don't have in the fight. But T1 Diabetic's still here in that giant Type 5 to start slowing down this lane, and he's going to get another shot off for 400. And ammo racked on the T1 Diabetic.
And now the damage going into draw cap is also considerable. Need to pay attention to that. But now
this is not over.
Although a lot of tanks on Aquatic are very low on hit points, this is going to be difficult, especially Dark God Zim deciding, you know what, who needs cover? I've got plenty of hit points. I can take on a mouse and a T57. At the same time, Morphic and Marsh are going to move around on the flank. And what's important here is, can they get those kills? There's just 1 shot onto draw cap, 1 shot into Exo. All you need. A fully loaded
Big Cheese could be a hero right now, and Drock is actually going to get taken down by Morphic. Dark God Zim really needs to find the kill onto Big Cheese. He's looking for it. He gets it. Exo is reloaded. He gets the ammo rack onto Morphic. Ammo rack city. Marsh is going to push around after he gets the kill. Start unloading onto Dark God Zim, but it's a 2v1 and a fully loaded Positive is going to come in behind Marsh here and clean this up.
GG. And there
Double ammo rack that game.
There were a lot of those. Okay. So Aquatic for a moment could have come back. They could have.
Well, that ammo rack on T1, that almost was enough to turn that around.
Just about. And just a few shells that bounced that could have penned would have changed everything. I'm actually going to take a look at my in-game post-battle report and just see, what is it? Damage blocked by armor while we take a look at this replay of that match. Refresh your guys' memory. 2,000 damage by draw cab blocked. About 1,000 from Photo. Exo doesn't have any. Germ has a little bit of bounce as well. And then Master Pupil, he actually blocked about 3,500 damage, while Big Cheese had 1,400 total. So lots of damage being blocked in that last battle. And that's every bit of blocked damage is damage that could have been dealt, damage that would have swayed that battle from one side to the other. Just look at how close it was at the end. And look at this damage. Marsh coming in with 4,700.
He's the one that got that ammo rack onto T1, so that's why it's a little bit inflated as well. However, still good damage. Positive having a second very strong game in a Batchat on Ghost Town. Not something that you see go together a lot. T1 Diabetic, before he got ammo rack, still got off 3,156 fantasy points. Pupil doing what he can for M60s. Dark God Zim, Drock, and Morphic all running it out on the first page there. On the second page, Photo, sadly down there at 1,642, a little bit uncharacteristic. Mr. Man, though, that's the real shocker down there. Batchat, 1,200, 31 fantasy points. Not really able to get into the fight that game.
He got outplayed in a Batchat in a 1v1. Positive was able to get a nice track and then just strafed around Mr. Man. Classic medium play. He knew how to win. He had that one little advantage that kind of jumped out at him, and he took it.
And you have to remember that Positive's playing from Ukraine, so he's playing with a good 160 ping, where Mr. Man lives somewhere in the United States, so he's got to be a good bit closer to that server.
Yep. Slight advantages, but not always enough to really
not enough
scale.
Well, obviously my point is not enough to hinder Positive in this case. Now as we move on to battle number 3, Aquatic M60s, nice 7, 2 5As, a 103 and 3 Batchats, Eclipse, 3 4 5As, a 263 and 2 Batchats. Eclipse really like that 263.
That they do.
They've been bringing it a lot recently.
Good damage deal. Decent profile.
A lot of frontal armor.
Plenty of it.
Moves quickly. It brings a lot of the same stuff that the STRV does, but doesn't have the hold down or siege mode that it has to enter. So it can be there. And plus it has stronger armor, so when you can keep tanks like a Batchat shooting at the front of it, it can last for a good while, especially if those Batchats have APCR loaded and not heat.
Yep. It stands up pretty well against its counterpart here in this battle. That's the Sturf. It doesn't quite have the... It can't quite compete with siege mode exactly, but it stands up well enough. And I guess let's just take a look at these opening moves, because let's just look at this move from Eclipse. This is east side all the way. There's no doubt they're just going to push up, take control of the 2-cap, destroy any and everything they find on the side of the map when they can. And there we go. Opening spots happening. Do not stop forward is the best direction. Germ, Dark God Zim moving forward, Drawcap and Photo behind. It looks like Photo might be the one to stay behind and watch mid-tracks, while Germ and them move down and just try and take out Giggles, Mr. Man, and these guys just watching the side of the map. Nicely done, though. Aquatics kept Felix somewhat hidden. Hopefully he can get some damage in. Dark God Zidden looks like he's going to look towards that tank and sets Felix on fire. That's nice. He goes down very quickly. And now, Dark God Zim looks like simps for Giggles. Keeps Germ alive. And Giggles with one more shell left. Forced to put it in a Dark God Zim. Although he
still haven't found Giggles playing those bushes very well.
He was spotted for a little while, but now he's able to stay dark.
Marsh takes a lot of damage.
Nice volley, good focus fire from Eclipse right there onto Aquatic. Marsh, though, barely alive. That's all he needs to stay relevant in the fight.
They need to find Giggles before he's reloaded, and Positive knows that he's just going to push in. And they don't necessarily know he's reloaded. Positive doesn't have enough to kill him. Now he's spotted. 5As are going to turn. They're going to volley him out. And Positive goes for the ramp while he still has one shot left. Takes a shot from Mr. Man for his troubles.
And there's a pushover in the middle of the map. Big Cheese leading the way with Pupil and Morphic behind them. I think Aquatic realizes they need to stay relevant in the fight. Good kill onto Germ down the way from Morphic. Taking out important tanks from Eclipse. This is what you need to do to stay relevant in the fight. You can't let yourself get bullied as Aquatic.
HP's basically even. However, there's an extra gun alive for Eclipse. They have to utilize that to their advantage. Photo finish, trying to get some shots off. T1 Diabetic trying to get his 263 into the fight. He's going to pull forward. He's looking for a shot. Big Cheese just side-scraping off that building. Drock trying to stay behind cover so he doesn't get volleyed out by the 2 5As of Pupil and Morphic.
Big Cheese is going to back off, though. Decides, all right, guys, let's disengage. We don't want to let this string out for way too long. And he's going to take 480 as the toll to leave.
And now Positive's going over on Mr. Man in the north.
Okay, that's great for Aquatic, because now it's 4-on-4. You've got the same number of guns. Positive is peeking over in the south. He takes a few shells. One more solid hit should get him, but Positive's going to take down Mr. Man, and that's huge. Eclipse has a chance here. They've got mobility. Look at the tanks left on the battlefield, James.
Yeah, they have mobility. The problem is Photo Finish and T1 Diabetic need to live for a while. They need to stay alive to open this up. Photo's just going to push over. He's trying to find a kill shot onto the 5A. He's going to take one shot. He's going to bounce another, barely escaping with his life. And another shot put into the dirt. The Batchat's trying to get some shots off. Now Photo's trying to leave, and Exo finally picks up the kill, but Big Cheese does take out Photo, and now there's a 3v2.
Oh, but the coverage Exo has from down the way is beautiful. He just needs to look for one more shot. Right into Pupil, and that'll have it, because look at Pupil. He's lost, what is it, 2 crew members? Yeah, 2 crew members. He's lost a gunner and his driver. So ultimately, he's not that effective in combat right now. He did not bring a med kit, so he can't bring those guys back. He brought fire extinguisher, repair kit, and rations. And so because of that, right now, he's going to struggle.
Exo looking for that shot onto Pupil. Fires one. And Pupil fires another. Doesn't get the connection. Now it's going to give Exo a chance to get one more shot off. He only has a shot on the turret of Pupil. Reverse side scraping off that fallen train car. He's looking for it. And he gets it. Nice shot from Exo. That's going to leave Big Cheese all alone versus 3.
Yep, Positive in the meantime has moved himself down south, down the 0 line, and looks like he'll be trying to approach Big Cheese from the south at the middle of the map. So we'll see what happens next. I'm willing to bet Positive is probably just gonna head towards the middle of the map. Seems like the safest place to go. Should be able to proxy, allow T1 Diabetic to move in, James, and possibly finish this one off. What do you think?
I think they're going to get the bat shots out wide and do this the correct way, the time-consuming way, but the way that has the best chance of success, which is going to be to get one of those bat shots all the way over to that 2 line. I7 can't cover the map that quickly and keep everything spotted. Now, he is actually going to make the play to go up and over the middle here. Now, he may unknowingly spot. Nope, not going to get it. He may have come across that bat shot in the open, which would have been just an absolute nightmare for Eclipse. Now he's going to push into the low ground. He doesn't know where T1 Diabetic is, and T1's going to put him out of his misery.
There we go. GG. All right, that is 3 up for Eclipse, although it has been closer than one would have expected.
Well, when we were talking, you said 5-1. You know, we asked where that round would come from, and you said Proc. You know, a map where, even though Eclipse have looked very good on it, it's a map where you can get away with, you know, some very raw aggression. The second grand finals, you know, Prokhorovka, L Gaming, and even Hellraisers to a certain extent, you know, who can just go up and over and focus the fastest. This is a map where stuff like that can happen.
This is true. Okay. And that's why we expect Proc to do crazy things, because you have to take risks, and that's what Eclipse did here. They went for an all-in up the east side of the map, go for the 2 cap, and just skip a huge number of steps to get to that end game that end game fight position. Looking at the stats after this game, that's why they stayed relevant. Mr. Man in the 103B.
Nothing new there. 4K, 100 fantasy points. No surprise to anyone. Photo finish in the 5A, also no surprise to anyone, doing 4K himself and 95 fantasy points.
Who'd have thought, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Positive in the bat chat, only 2,500 this game, 2 kills, 56, still having a very strong night. Dark Eyed Zim also been playing pretty well, 65. Pupil doing what he can in that 5A. Morphic also in the other 5A doing what they can. And EXO had a few clutch shots there at the end. Got lucky with that shot onto Pupil a little bit, but managed to get the connection.
That was under the train cars.
Under the train cars. A bat chat at, you know, what is that, almost 400 meters?
A little closer to 350.
Yeah, so like, still, a bat chat at that range, firing heat shells.
Underneath the train tracks, it's tricky. It's tricky.
That was a good shot, I'll give him that.
Yeah.
So we are going to move on to battle number 4 here in a minute. Teams are going to switch sides, but that's going to be Eclipse now on defense.
And that's that much harder. Eclipse is a solid strat for this map. They understand it. We've seen them perform. We've seen them perform under extraordinary pressure. And, well, this is one of the final chances for Aquatic to bring themselves into this match and pick up a win or two. Because after this, we move to Himmelsdorf where, well, with down 4-0, it's going to get that much harder for Aquatic to stay focused on victory.
Yeah, been looking at it. Aquatic bringing in 2 IS-7s, 2 5As, and 3 bat chats. Eclipse, 2 IS-7s, a 5A, a Foch B, an STRV, and 2 bat chats of their own. Once again, Eclipse have been the only team that have consistently brought that Foch B. We've seen some other teams bring it, I would say, experimentally, but not consistently time and time again. And it is a very powerful tank in the right situation. The low penetration on the shells can hinder it a little bit. But when you have 6 shots in an autoloader of 400 alpha piece, only 2 seconds between each shell, you can empty the whole clip in something like 10 seconds. It's a lot of damage. So if you can make those shots count, especially say against, like, you know, a bunch of bat chats driving straight at you, it can be a lethal machine.
That it can. All right, let's take a look and explore some of these opening positions from both teams. Looks like a straight mid play for the most part from Aquatic, sending an IS-7 Marsh over to the east side. Pay attention to that. Not always a chosen position for IS-7s, but not bad at all, especially for crossfiring into the mid. Morphic, Pupil, Big Cheese are going to take main positions on the middle of the map on attack here for Aquatic. They're going to stack up against EXO and Photo Finish. Photo is excellent in the middle of this map, so standing up against him and coming out positive for damage is going to be a huge challenge for Eclipse.
All right, now speaking of Eclipse, let's go ahead and listen into their comms as they try to hold this defense against Aquatic M60s.
All right, looks like they aren't talking much right now, guys. So, back to the game then it is, James. All right, so shots bouncing off everywhere on the middle of the map right now. Just pretty much slugging it out, but it's heavy tanks. So, James, it's kind of hard to pen the front of an IS-7 turret, isn't it?
Hold down at that range, yes.
Yeah. A little bit of a challenge. Although, look at this movement mid-map. We've got Morphic and Pupil shifting over. So, looks like they'll be trying to take on and successfully dealing a little damage on Exo.
All right, let's give this one more try. Try to listen into Eclipse and see what they're doing on their defense right now.
Austin.
Pupil's poking up. Marsh is poking as well.
How does that even work, dude? Why can't I pen IS-7 turrets?
Maybe we should just get Sturf.
maybe
Farm,
Yeah,
farm,
back.
farm. Because, like, they're sitting.
Let's healing, but
Nuts.
I'll see.
Because they can still only push 2 bats over here. They do. Lines from bat, you said? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's gonna be to the line, so you guys can't push that.
They're just trying to figure out what to do. I mean, they lost a tank for free. Heavies are stepping up, but then going down.
I will go heal now.
You sure? Are you full?
Yeah,
Did this guy take any hits?
Yeah.
Okay, just don't lose your fight over there, Positive, that's all.
I'm gonna
'Cause,
be
like, we're
looking
up everywhere.
on the hill lead, so he's not like in the bush.
Yeah, but
I will not push.
They're still getting basically all their heavies lit. Yeah, all 4 left heavies are still lit, so it's only 2 bats that can flex around the push. They're stepping up heavies. Here comes the push. They're pushing 1-2.
Both easy fire.
I7's going bolt.
Foch is still A6.
gotcha on the hill.
Okay, then start shifting over this way. Start shifting over this way.
Track.
Back.
Stirred back here too.
Just gotta dump this. We just gotta dump this. Guys, up and over. Heavies, up and over. Onto their side.
Foch -1. -2.
Match at minus. How many did he shoot you up to?
Then shot 1.
Let's get Exo.
Coach gonna kill me, something to do.
Can we get the drug cards in it?
Serves all the way up.
So you can kind of hear it in both teams. You know, Eclipse don't seem to be stressing out too much. They knew they had the advantage with Mr. Man, unfortunately, going down for Aquatic M60s. And at that point, you know, M60s was looking for answers, and they haven't had them all night, let alone 1 tank down. And that is going to be Eclipse, making it 4-0. Going pretty much as some of us expected.
Yeah, that was much more handily taken care of on that turn. You
Well,
heard the up and over call from Aquatic and on comms there. I agree with that to a sense. They've dedicated to the fight. They really need to take that. Problems here, though. You got 2 TDs on defense, and those are hard to break, right?
Well, especially the STRV, such high camo value, such high DPM.
Yeah.
When it can sit in that siege mode, it just fires off shots.
Yeah, and the thing is, you send 2 bat chats down the 1 line to try and just pick up kills like that. Felix and Giggles didn't stand a chance, ultimately. And no matter how much they did, yeah, they got 2 kills in the end of this. But also losing Mr. Man early in the game, that as well, that hurt a lot.
Yeah, and looking at it, speaking of that STRV, 2-1 Diabetic, 3,100 damage, 2 kills, and 75 fantasy points. Positive, another very strong match, 3,100, 2 kills, and 100 fantasy points. Those that have him on his fantasy team are just loving him tonight because he's already at 300 points with 1 to go. That's not bad for a 5-0 blowout.
No, not at all.
Morphic coming in here, top damage dealer for Aquatic M60s, only 1 on the front page. And then poor photo finish down there on the bottom, not really able to get a lot of damage off tonight.
Yeah, he gets a good solid 1,600. I'd like to note, though, that throughout the entire battle, he did his job excellently. While he did not reflect his performance in necessarily those fantasy points or in the damage dealt, what he did was he kept alive and he made himself a difficult target. Yep. So, to his credit, even though he may look like he's down there.
Sometimes being, doing something for your team and for the greater good is more than getting off the damage.
Yeah, you're not always going to be able to use stats to decide who was the highest performer in a battle, of course.
Yeah.
I'd like to note those when we see those heavy tankers that don't get a lot of damage out. a lot of time we have to remember that heavy tanker might have just been playing the annoying mouse or IS-7 hold down.
Well, just like Akako on top tier, like some games, you know, he has games on like heavy maps like Himmelsdorf where he just goes off. But there's maps like on Prokhorovka where he doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but if you look at what he was doing, he's just playing those key important spots. It's really slowing down the other team, making it hard for them to peak, and really just giving his team the advantage just from being there and just playing that position perfectly.
All right, as we look into game though, what could be the final battle, we have a mouse T57 Type 5, two of them, two 5As, and a bat chat for Aquatic Eclipse. It's got a 113, two mouse, Type 5, 5A, T110E3, and a bat. So, solid lineups from both sides. On attack though, this has victory as a potential. I mean, I don't see it outside of the of Aquatic's potential, I guess. But right now, it's probably looking grim on the Aquatic comms.
So, fun fact for you, both teams have exactly equal HP despite having different lineups.
Yes, they do. Isn't that fun, how that all works out?
Math. So, moving on.
Don't you just want like a magical little like rainbow? Like
What are the chances? So, Batchat and the 113 pushing down the 2 line right now, along with 5A for Eclipse. Positive's going to stop that little window.
Nope.
No.
He decides, I'm not stopping. He has no brakes. It almost looks like he doesn't have brakes with the way he went over that bump.
They're getting aggressive, maybe. This is these two teams knowing each other, having played against each other before, scrimming, maybe?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've seen Positive do exactly this before. We've seen some aggressive openings all season. They're not super common, and they tend not to result directly in a whole lot, but the whole purpose of this
is to do that right there, which is spot through that narrow gap and pick up big cheese. Nice little spot there. He's just putting his tank up on the side a little bit, and that's just enough to get the little advantage, the height he needs to see over that gap.
Yep. And he gets to back out. He knows he's been spotted. It's not smart to stick around for that because here's what's going to happen. Aquatic could show up and pick just the right angle, right, James? They're just going to try and bully you out. But because you know that's coming, you get out of that position, you shift back, find a better spot to deal with what's coming. Because now you've seen that mouse, you saw where it was going, you have an idea of what your opponent's doing. So just those little pieces of information help you put together the puzzle.
And it looks like Positive's going to find the shot under the train car here onto that Type 5. Gets the shoveler plate. Actually, it's the track instead, though.
Hey, keeps him there. With that, if the timing works out, his battle buddy would be able to bring up another track or pen shot. Positive just snapping, actually, track shots left and right.
He doesn't have much time, and unfortunately he's not going to get the retrack.
No. He decides, you know what, let's not get greedy. We'll figure this out some other time. And with that, he's going to turn back. Success in some way. Positive in combination with his Type 5 buddy, Drawcap, have just held off and advanced on the west side of the map, which has wasted about 2.5 minutes of his opponent's time and allowed Eclipse to deal a tiny amount of damage. So little victories right here for Eclipse. Little defeats, though, for Aquatic.
They're actually shifting a lot of their tanks up the A line right now, trying to get towards that top cap, deciding that forcing a fight on this 1-2 line is not in their best interest.
No, it is not. Looks like on top of the hill, though, T57 is going to be looking for T1 Diabetic. Although that T57 does get himself spotted. It's dangerous, and he's got to watch out. Shots could be coming from any number of angles at this point on to Marsh. He'll have to pay attention. Yeah, he's smart about that. Look, little blind fire coming over his head. And he may just head towards the north cap. All right, James. What's Aquatic going to do?
Well, let's go ahead and just find out from them themselves and listen into their comps.
Somehow.
Fine.
Cheese and
They're
I
already
can
pushing
squeeze
south.
in.
I didn't hear that.
Like this, and this needs to squeeze before the E3 gets there. And Matt, you need to go help.
Ready to peek him, but yeah, Cheese has to go first. Just looking. It's fine.
Well, live with something.
Wow, Giggles got blammoed.
Loading.
I can't stay here, Giggles. Get
I
back.
There's
I'm
back
tracked
off.
again.
Giggles is rip.
Track. One's up. Alright, I'm good. Backing off.
Can't fuck that E3 back now.
Yeah, let me just sit on cap, cover over top of me.
Yeah, at this point we just need to sit on cap, Aidman.
Reloading again. Exo's almost dead if we can get HE shell into him.
Yeah.
Really like should not peek him again, take another 500.
I mean, I can come up and try and HE him, but...
If he peeks me, I can kill him.
He's looking this way.
I mean, he's the one they're gonna live up to reset most likely.
You need to be careful of them crossing in like here.
I'm waiting for it.
Like if it's clear, I can just drive across, Matt. You have to...
It's not gonna be clear.
It's not going to be clear
It's
now.
not.
That E3's in the window, dude.
Yeah, I got
Alright.
lit. Okay.
Bring him around.
I backed off.
E3,
I have
please,
HE
man.
into them. I die here.
That's everything, yeah?
Yeah.
Try and get the low health stuff.
Now.
Their mouse
Fuck, I
and
was
that
shooting
shutter
HE.
may come around to this time.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch.
I'm on mode. Yeah, on the A line.
Can we get Cube? Yeah, if you can.
Oh no!
They're all low on the A line. How many B3 shoots? Type 5, I need to know, like...
You can hear it in their voices. They're not entirely convinced that they're doing this right now. Kind of everything's slowed. It's starting to fall apart. It looked like Eclipse might be throwing this game, but all of a sudden, kill after kill is coming back in. And shots are going around. Photo Finish is going to push around. He's trying to find a shot. He does. He picks it up onto Giggles.
And there we go. Looks like this one's slowly going to finish out for Eclipse. Aquatic does not have many chances left to get this. Let's see, Photo's going around. He's got easy shots into the rear sections of Pupil and Morphic. Easy kills. Photo finishes Pupil, and now Morphic remains with Marsh. Nice shots there from Marsh, but it's possibly a little too late. Nice kill onto T1 Diabetic, though.
3 versus 2.
Positive's got the kill there. And Marsh is the last one alive. Photo finds the shell. That's the kill, and that's going to do it. Eclipse is going to take the match 5-0.
Decisive.
Yes.
Decisive from Eclipse. You know, there's really, this is one of those matches where there's just not a whole lot to say. It's just, it was very clean from Eclipse. They had their strats. Except for that one Pro-Gorovkin game, at no real point did we feel like Aquatic M60s were really testing them. It felt like
earlier in the match, maybe you could have said that, maybe, but I'm not going to reach so far and say that you could have. But yeah. You might have been able to say that. But as the match went on, as it went longer and longer, though, it was very easily becoming Eclipse's match.
Eclipse just seemed to be one step ahead, just every turn for the most part.
Yeah.
Especially here on this last game, that the push at the end there was a little bit sloppy. They didn't get kills as quickly as they wanted to. Germ pushed around and ended up low rolling onto that first tank on Giggles, and didn't kill him unfortunately. But Eclipse's focus fire, their coverage, their teamwork was just too good. They had every lane covered, and it's time that Aquatic M60s tried to poke around the second time. Everyone just got punished, and they just bled too many tanks. And looking at it, Marsh, once again, he had a really strong match tonight, doing what he can, 4,497 fantasy points. T1 Diabetic, another 4K, 83, positive. Rounding out a very strong night, 3,165. Big Cheese doing what he can. Exo, Mr. Man, and Germ. Mr. Man having a really quiet match night.
Yeah, although those lucky people who picked Marsh are going to get a small reward.
He definitely. And then on to the second page, Photo Finish, doing what he can. 2K, 4 kills, 60 fantasy points, not bad. Dark God Zim, another 2K, and then it drops off after there, Pupil, etc. Now, on to fantasy points.
Wow.
Positive. Making the best out of a very decisive game, 432 fantasy points, not bad. T1
No,
Diabetic.
that's fantastic. That his performance in these battles dwarfs everyone else in the team, almost doubling everyone else, any individual's performance.
Yep, he had some very, very strong games, especially early on. Photo Finish, another top performer along with T1 Diabetic, both putting up around 290 points, not bad. Once again, it was a 5-0, so the those numbers are actually fairly good for a 5-0 as decisive as this.
Yep.
And then on the second page here, just no one really able to do a whole lot on either of these. Drock, Exo, and Germ all doing their part for their team, all doing what they can, but not translating into stats anyways.
Yep. Altogether, not bad match for Eclipse. Aquatic managed to show us they do have solid plays. They do have an idea of what they're doing, but showing us also that Eclipse is still far ahead of them at this point, and that they do have things to work on. For this match, though, in particular, I think each individual battle, Aquatic's going to be able to look back and say, okay, this is where we made a mistake, this is where we made a mistake, this is where we made a mistake. I don't feel like there were too many convoluted issues for the guys of Aquatic to deal with, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, T1 is actually going to join us right now for a winner interview. Keep it nice and quick, but just have a little chat with him for a minute.
Hey, that was quick, sir. That was a nice 5-0, but there were some battles where it could have gone either way. Do you want to talk a little bit about those with us?
Proc attack, is probably the only one I can think of that was way too close. Personally, I played that pretty poorly in the 2-6-3.
Yeah, you looked like you were having trouble.
I just bled too much.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I was just not paying attention. So that was my bad.
Yeah, do you think the 2-6-3 has trouble staying relevant in a fight? Like getting in the right position and just staying there? Or what do you have to do with that tank in order to keep it effective?
It's just, I mean, if they peek onto you, it's fine, but it's just like, I just played it poorly. I wasn't really paying attention on where I should be looking, so that was just my fault playing it poorly. So, and then also the Ghost Town, I guess, Ghost Town attack, I got double racked. I peeked out for a shot that I shouldn't have, so I mean, I would say like the two closest games were just kind of mistakes on my end. So
you're taking responsibility for this one, T1. It's all you.
Just personal mistakes and just like getting greedy when I shouldn't have. So
nice.
All right, so I guess we talked beforehand about making individual mistakes on a 1 to 10 scale. Where do you feel you're at after tonight's matches, as far as not making mistakes and playing as well as you want to play?
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell because one night it can be good and one night it can be bad. So it's just about trying to get to consistency. So.
All right. Looks like he froze on us. All right. Well,
in that case, T1, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, so Eclipse are going to have Dare, Top Tier, Teal Team 6, and 07 left for the next 2 weeks. So a couple of big matches for them, especially the next match, match day, Dare. That looks like it will be on broadcast. That's going to be a fight for second place because I don't really see either of these teams really dropping any of their points except for maybe Eclipse versus, or not Eclipse, Dare versus Elevate again. But outside of that, there's not going to be a whole lot of movement in these two teams for the last 4 match days. So definitely come back on next Tuesday and keep an eye on that. All right, Randall, any final thoughts?
Nope, got it. I think we got it all out of our system here. Ready to move on to that 07 Elevate one.
All right, guys. Well, like Randall said, up next will be 07 versus Elevate, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. And we are back with the second match of the night. We just watched Eclipse pretty much just shut down Aquatic M60s, put them out of their misery, 5-0. Very decisive. Now we're on to another match which could potentially be very decisive, and that's going to be 07 versus Elevate. Once again, I am James Rockstar Grieve. That is Randall Rookhill Holcomb. We're here to bring you guys the second match tonight, as always. Now, looking at it, 07, this could be a world of hurt.
That it could, but first things first, James, we got to get through a few big steps. Guys, do not forget, follow us on Twitter at WGLNA and use that hashtag WGLNA so we can find your tweets and feature them here on the broadcast. We might even talk a little bit about those. Of course, also on Facebook.com/WGLNA. Go on over there every single match day and watch, the two of us, go over all sorts of fantasy stuff and whatever we think about tanks. So go ahead and head over there before the show. And of course, go to fantasytanks.com where you can win all sorts of prizes.
Yep, Type 59's up for grabs. Only place you can get them consistently. So if you don't have one, there's another way to get it, or just get the gold value for it. If you already have one and you're lucky enough to win one, not a bad way to make a little bit of extra World of Tanks gold.
Of course.
All right, guys. Now we're going to move on to our first match, which is going to be 07 versus Elevate. Elevate.
Yes. All right, now, first things first, let's look at 07. 07, led by Foster, has very recently turned themselves around a little bit and has been performing better and better. So things are looking good for 07, but of course, putting it in context for today, we have, it still is going to look like an uphill battle. We've heard that Meadowhawk is going to be returning to the battlefield today. He will not be sitting on the bench anymore. That's some nice news. We're going to ask him about that in the face-off when we get a chance to. Looking over at the other side, looking at Elevate. We've got Comps leading them. We'll talk to him on the face-off. However, we won't be seeing him on the battlefield. We're going to be looking for their top players, Vetra, for example, who leads the way in fantasy points, leads the way on stats across the board. Dodomox, Mathis, also standout players. Actually, we talk about this every single time. It's a list, just a laundry list of incredible players.
Pretty much every single one of those players, with the exception of Striker, is a proven Gold League veteran that has been on a winning team.
Way to call out Striker.
Striker's the new kid on the block, and they've said it themselves that he is a block of clay that they can mold. Everyone else in this team has been on a team that has won the Gold League multiple times. Even Comps. They've been there, they've played. So, even Comps, he's the manager now. He's played. He can step in and play if he absolutely had to. He hasn't for a long time, but he could.
Yeah, but we like to poke him for it.
Yeah.
I like to. We know Comps was a solid player, but it's still fun to kind of prod at him from time to time about it because it's just what we do.
Yep. Now we do have an update from the offline matches. It is top tier up 2-0 over Teal Team 6 right now.
Yes, and
or is it Teal Team 6 that are up? I'm getting
Teal Team 6 is down. Top tier is up 3-0.
3-0 in favor of top tier.
And F7 versus Dare Rising is currently at a 1-1.
1-1 on Cliff. It's not too surprising there.
Yep,
on Sand River now.
Yep. We'll check back in with those a little later for you guys. But back to talking about the match a little bit.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into the maps.
Yes. All right. Looking at those, we have first up. I'm going to look at my own sheet real quick while production gets that ready to go. Sand River will be the first map in the series, James. Huge map for Elevate. They've been doing fantastically.
Now, to be fair, 07 got 2 wins on it versus Eclipse, so...
Okay, that's a fair enough. And now we have also the bans, and important to note, Cliff and Mines out first.
Yep.
So we will not be seeing Cliff at all this season, will we, James?
Doesn't seem like it. We've seen some teams play it. In fact, it's being played right now in that F7 Dare match, but
almost never do we get to actually see Cliff.
Yeah, well, especially out of teams like Elevate. Now, looking at the band, Sand River, defense for Elevate first. Now, once again, 07, they got some wins on it versus Eclipse, so maybe it's in there. But Ghost Town, that is another map that is just what I like to call Elevate's playground. It's a map they're just very strong on. They're so well coordinated. It makes it really hard to do well on that sort of map.
Yeah, and then Ruinberg and Proc are out. Ruinberg being taken away. Smart play by 07. I'll give him credit there. And then Proc, that tends to be a little more coin flippy altogether, so taking that out of the running makes for safer choices on Murrow and Himmels. Maybe, actually, safer might not be the right word for Murrow.
It can be a one-on-one map, but actually this season it's actually gone heavily in the attacking favor. It's kind of flip-flopped. Seasons past, especially in 768, and season before that, it really favored the defender, the hold downs, the resetting of the cap.
Yeah, but defenders seem to be a little more proactive. I think. Let's ask the teams about
Teams
that.
have gotten more creative with how they attack this map. They've kind of opened things up. It's a lot harder to kind of sit in one spot and get the resets these days.
You can't be passive.
Yeah, so these teams, they've really kind of figured it out because it's been around long enough now. They've kind of figured out all the secrets. Like Sand River, for example. This is its first season back in the map pool in a while, so they kind of have to figure things out. You give it in there a couple seasons. Once the meta's evolved and everyone's seen everything, then it won't be as easy to just sit there and defend.
All right, now let's take a look at both of our predictions and Ute from WGLNA. Looks like we've all chosen the same score.
I'm sorry, Meadowhawk. I'm sorry, bud, but it's Elevate.
Yeah, if you asked us to put money on it, we'd all be saying 5-0 favor Elevate. I mean, 07, we're going to be seeing if they can put a few more points up on the board, if they can show us anything that they've got hidden up their sleeve, but
I want to be wrong. I want to be very wrong. I want Elevate has not lost in over a year now, basically. Yeah. Except for the grand finals, they haven't lost a game in the WGLNA in over a year.
Third best in the world, by the way.
Yeah. So if 07 get a win here, it's a major Christmas miracle essentially at this point. It's
not even Christmas. Yay.
Exactly. All right, guys. Now we're joined on the face-off by both representatives. So let's go ahead and welcome them to the broadcast.
Gentlemen. Welcome back, of course. Oh, right. I'm being told we just lost one. Give us a second. We're going to wait to get them back. Just give it a sec. sometimes we have these problems trying to get people on.
Well, I know Meadowhawk said before one of the face-offs that he blue screened right beforehand and crashed.
Oh,
so
yeah, I remember that. That's happened before. Yeah. He does. I do always love his little studio. He's got that backdrop when he had the happy unbanning thing. It was like a happy birthday. He bought at a dollar store or something.
He was all excited to get to reuse it when our came
yeah, of course. That was beautiful.
Really getting his money's worth out of that sign.
I think my favorite face-off from Meadow might have been the Scuba suit.
Scuba Hawk was up there.
Scuba Hawk was good.
I think J Smooth's Love Poem was also up there.
Oh, yeah, before he said bye-bye forever.
Yeah, that was pretty good back then.
Yep.
Let's see, I'm trying to think of a couple other ones. LA the Persian dude's face-off with the cheeseburger. I always remember that one. That was hilarious.
Yep.
Blue Mini walking around his apartment on his phone. There have been some good face-offs.
That was a creative one.
That was something I hadn't seen before.
I think my favorite of all time, though, is Nagatron's Too Hot to Handle, Too Cold to Hold from Season 1 WGLNA when he came on dressed as
and then there was the docu interview with Nagatron where he had a whole shrine to Nagatron behind him. That was also a good
That one was a little bit weird.
Yeah, all right. Now we're ready. We should have both of them.
Hey!
And there it is.
Whoa, what happened, Meadow? Things have changed.
Yes. I need to be in front of my computer so I can play right away with no delay.
Yeah, because you're off the bench today.
This is the backside of my setup.
This is the behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, points to whoever can pick out all the Easter eggs in the background.
Yeah. Now the one thing I will say is that the real question, Meadowhawk, is: are you still on the desk that you punched the hole in?
No. I've upgraded to a solid wood desk, so my hand will now not go through the desk, but the desk will hurt my hand. So it's incentive not to hit my desk anymore.
All right, Meadowhawk. Now, the one last thing that I want to get out of the way is we were just talking. You are back in the starting lineup, apparently. How does that feel, after almost a year out to be back in a consistent starting spot?
Well, consistent starting spot is even more than a year out. Consistent starting spot's back to potato or fear, at least.
Wow.
So it's nice. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, the season's not going super great, but maybe we can turn it around. And if we do, then hopefully we can get to the finals. That'd be fun.
All right. Now, Comps, you're sitting over there. You guys got 4 match days left. You're sitting in first place, nice and comfortable. Why are 07 not going to upset you guys? Why are you guys going to extend your lead a little bit longer?
I mean, I don't know. It was a 5-0 earlier today, so I mean, we're going to try to 5-0 and speed run through this match.
So you're going to try to do it faster than the Eclipse just did.
Yeah, that's our challenge for tonight.
All right, so got to constantly one-up your opponents.
So what's the over/under on the team right now for timings?
Well, I think we have the fastest of the season at like 23 minutes and 16 seconds, so let's try to beat that.
All right, now Meadowhawk, what are you guys doing to not be the unfortunate record holders for that one?
I think we're just trying to play our game and not overthink it. Obviously, against Eclipse, our expectations weren't super high. Like, I mean, there's not the expectation that we should be beating them like, the lower teams, which we were losing to. So I think maybe we were just relaxed. I mean, like I said, that was some of the best comms we had. And it was nice to, just be able to play. And so hopefully, without expectations to beat, the juggernaut that is Elevate, we can hopefully take a couple rounds off them and, maybe surprise them.
I can't even keep you straight with that pupil photo in the background. Oh, man.
Let's just take a moment. I'm sorry, Meadow. I think our production crew is just taking a moment to let everyone take in your scene for one more time. Because, you do have Easter eggs all over the place, sir. It's beautiful. All right. Any final statements for your opponent, Meadowhawk?
Good luck, have fun, and the speedrun only counts if Comps is playing. But we all know that he is a great manager, riding the coattails of us great players. So it is what it is.
Oh,
Comps, your response.
I mean, good luck and have fun, and hopefully we'll see you in the finals.
Okay.
All right, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you in just a minute.
I love those guys. Thank you so much. Oh, that was beautiful. Hopefully we'll see you in the final. Savage.
Oh, they have a long way to go if that's even going to be a possibility.
That was a good comeback. All right. So let's turn our attention then towards the match itself. We're going to start off on Sand River. And yes, you mentioned that 07 might have some ideas ready to go.
They might. It's Sand River. The trick to this map is, especially on the offense, which is where they're starting, you really have to open up angles. You have to find the creative angles and really chip at them and give yourself that advantage. That north is just such a tight little ball. Well, you give up, let's say 1/5 of the map to hold it. Once you're there, it is really hard to dig them out, and there's not a whole lot that the attacking team can do to really dig them out from one direction like we see a lot of teams do. They try to go up and over, force a brawl. In my opinion anyways, you really have to take advantage of the whole map if you're going to make that happen. You have to open up the south, you have to open up the north. The problem is by doing it, it's risky because if their team's one step ahead of you, they may be able to just jump on an overmatch while your tanks are on the other side of the map.
Or even the other side of a berm.
Yeah,
this is a delicate map where you could find yourselves changing an entire fight simply by small alterations in terrain.
To open this map up offensively, it is just a pure art form. So we'll see if 07 are up for the task as they bring 2 5As, a 103, 3 Batchats, and an M48 Patton. Meanwhile, Elevate coming in here, 2 I-7s, 2 5As, a Batchat, an M48, and a T100. No surprise to see Vetro in that M48.
Yep, solid tank. It has been performing very, very well. Fires well on the move, fires well and hull down. Actually manages to bounce shells here and there
and
now.
And especially on a map like this, very high shell velocity, which means it's really good for shooting at long range. Higher shell velocity means your shell gets to its targets faster at long range. So trying to hit, say, a Batchat moving at full speed at 400 meters away, it becomes a lot easier when you have that M48.
You just reminded me of something, actually, which if you are using something that actually doesn't have great velocity and the shells tend to dip, like a Batchat, is sometimes on this map, the way the hills are, if you manage to auto-aim at near, end of draw distance, you can sometimes arc a shell just over the edge of a berm, like where Wallhacks is. You could sometimes get a shell to just barely arc onto him.
Talk about RNG, though.
Yeah, I know I'm getting at something a bit weird, but it has happened.
There's an art form to doing stuff like that, that's for sure, but...
I just remember doing that from back in my days, playing Africa maps and Clan Wars. El Halouf and Sand River every single night for hours on end.
Don't even get me started on that El Halouf. Oh, man.
I almost wish that would come back. But looking at these opening strats, James, 07's got themselves with a mid play combined with a bit of a south push. So what they're going to be doing is, it looks like they'll, yes, okay. We're going to see pressure on the mid from 07. Most of their heavy tanks sending 2 Batchats, Colosoid and Warbander, along with Makos off to the south side. What they're going to be doing is Makos is going to get into a covering position where he's going to overlook the cap and probably put pressure on tanks near where you can see External. We'll jump over to him now. External. And tanks from there will take fire if they attempt to stop the cap. In the meantime, other heavies will pressure the mid, while Batchats or something might either cross to screen the cap, or they'll jump on the cap itself and put the pressure. Whether or not cap actually stays relevant in the fight is a question, but we'll get to that later when it comes to it.
Right, now looking at Makos, has had some very strong games in that STRV 407. He's actually the top fantasy point scorer on the season right now in average point per game, so he's had some, especially versus Eclipse, he had 2 massive games, including that 1v1 clutch at the end. So he's going to need to have a repeat of that right now if 07 are going to stand a chance. Now, they have already burned 2 minutes. Elevator just holding their defense firm right now. They're not really too surprised. They have pretty good vision coverage. Well, they are sitting in just that top corner of the map.
There we go.
You have the I-7 looking across the A line. You have the M48 and the other heavies in the mid, and then that T100 in the south.
I liked what we just saw from Ox Mathis. Always destroy the cover on cap. It used to actually block a shell. Now it doesn't.
It can. However, it has to be heat shell.
Yes, or HE.
And it will take away damage from other types of shells, or not damage, but penetration from other types of shells, only by a little bit, but enough that it could, if it was already, at one of those angles where it was barely going to pen to begin with, all of a sudden it may not pen. So you might as well just take this time to destroy it.
Absolutely. Now, Meadowhawk, in the meantime, has moved himself up into a position to start spotting across the cap. The important thing to note from this is Elevate has to know that the cap pressure is going to be coming from the south. The tell is there. You wouldn't have a 5A in the south.
Well, the tell is also there in that they have vision coverage of the rest of the map, and they don't see anything in the north.
Exactly. And also, we've got the Sturf spotted. So even more info for Elevate to be able to adjust to defend the #1 cap. Although the control or pressure from 07 on that cap is not bad at all. they have the opportunity to put pressure on. And they may just do that. It looks like Warbender might be heading in right now. And we'll jump over to him, see what he's up to. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be heading towards Cap. And actually, we're going to have to pay attention to that Canadian position you currently see on screen. That's beautiful Overwatch, able to sink shells possibly onto the Cap, get resets when he needs to, and really just put fire where he wants to. Problem with that, of course, is he's quite far out, and we all know Batchats do not snipe especially well.
He has APCR loaded. If you look at his shell loadout, 2010. On a more city map like Himmelsdorf, we'll often see just 30 heat shells or 20 heat shells, but opting for the
15-15 split?
Well, he has the 20-10 split, and then Warbender here actually has the 15-15 split. So with the recent changes to some of the heavy tanks, it's become more important for the Batchats to have the heat shells. And in years past, it's been okay to just have the APCR and just know, all right, I just need to not fire at this target at this, like this angle right here. I'll hold down IS-7. Good luck with that. But the heat shells have become a bit more of a necessity recently, and teams brought them, and Arclet's going to just push up and over, trying to get into that berm. He is going to take a couple shots for his trouble.
Yeah, cover fire's not really there.
Oh, and he's down to a one-shot, and Ow. Vetro picks it up.
Yep. All right, that just shows how dangerous, and yeah, that hurts. 07's not in a good way. In fact, we're going to take a listen to 07 to see what they think they're going to be able to accomplish with the rest of this battle as we go ahead and listen with their comms.
No, like they're about to. You're
not gonna cap safely?
No, like, yeah, but like.
You get lit?
No, I haven't, but I will get fucked if I will try to.
Can you just sit on the other outside?
It's worse.
You just get on cap because we're just sitting here.
We're just sitting here, otherwise we're gonna. Yeah.
Okay, I got on cap. Okay.
Nice.
They're blinded.
Batchat's trying to.
I can shoot him, I guess, but I will not. I mean, I have shots. On...
Well, he's not in the boost. He's just on the hill.
They're blinding, big time.
Can you light them at all, Costa, on the hill?
No, not really. No feeding HP.
It would make shots much easier.
So we need someone to watch the valley. I got the north ridge if Wally's gonna try and push the hard.
У них один бат и один 100, то есть они могут... Ага. Они могут вот тут, короче, проехать сейчас. 40%. Они... Это он... He's gonna peek like once, and then I'm gonna take shots by all these tanks, like, and probably the bat here too. It's gonna like die. They're blinding HE, what?
While they're blinding yourself.
Is someone else gonna cap, honestly?
I don't think it's...
Not worth it, because Wally's just gonna get this vision anyways.
Yeah, we need to punish. We need to kill Wally and then throw 2 on. Well, it's tough because we already lost.
There he is.
There is.
Good.
Didn't spot me. I'm late now. He's not. What? He's not. No one can shoot him. What?
I hit him. He's stuck there now, though. Colozoid, where are you?
One's really
tracked. While he's tracked.
IS-7's close. IS-7's up close here. 7 can spot me, I guess. Семерка, ну да, понятно, блять, да.
He's hold down right now.
We can't do anything, like they have IS-7 here, I can't do anything right now. It's still like a farm. It's a free farm for them right now. The IS-7's hold down. We gotta go, like, here with the bats, I assume.
Не, едь назад, там...
А что, 7 просто светит, я не знаю, 7 просто...
Когда будет выебываться, его будет ПТшка наказывать.
Ну...
Он просто сейчас был не в позиции, плюс колесо этому.
Cap's the only play.
Remember before the game started, I was talking about how it's kind of an art form. You have to open up multiple angles. This offense from 07, notice what they're doing. Yep. They're not opening angles.
Yeah. And I think 07 recognized that. They recognized that what Elevate went for in their defense didn't at all end up fitting into the attack very well. There was no one out of place. There was no one too exposed. It was ultimately something manageable for...
To be honest, most of Elevate's movement in this game seemed to be more out of boredom than necessity.
Yeah.
Is the way I'd put that. They just seemed antsy. They wanted to do something. They wanted to get into a position. They could have held their initial positions and not been in any trouble. They had the blind fire shots. They had the 5A that could get the lights if they need be. They had the cover on them. But like tanks like Dodoma moving up to that middle ridge, the T100 moving around, at no point was it ever really necessary.
You're right. Yeah, it was pretty much solid control from Elevate the whole time. They didn't really need to pressure at all. They understood that actually not doing a whole lot was solid. Yeah, Wallhawks tried to do something little fun, but missing that shot was fun. Oh, and then he gets himself killed. He's just giving points to Metalhawk there. All right. Altogether, though, solid defense from Elevate. 07 tries a break. It could have gone a lot better. I think 07 recognized, and you heard that on their comms, that they needed to deal with Wallhacks, but they didn't really know how to deal with him. They understood exactly what was going to happen, but they had no tools ready to go in order to deal with that. There's probably an improvement they'll make for next time, and then they can improve upon that strat if they decide to continue going with that approach.
We're up in Vetro.
Vetro. Did you see how
the little mouse
the wiggle when you recognize you're like, no, you already missed the shot. If Vetro is flipping out on his POV, that was fun. Time runs out. There we go. That's a victory for Elevate. James on his observer was watching Vetro's POV, and
every time the last two shots he tried to fire, the shell just went wide, didn't hit the bad shot. And the first time he just kind of wiggled his mouth a little bit in frustration. Everyone kind of does it, like fire a shot and you kind of shake like, oh, why? Yeah. But the last time he did it, like you just couldn't even see what he was looking at.
He went full disco ball.
Yeah, exactly. Jinx. Anyways, moving on. Yeah. Now Makos though, 4,500 damage in the STRV. He did what he could. I'll give him that.
So clearly the STRV position worked.
Yeah, that part of the strat is not the problem for 07 at least. That's solid damage, but Arclet and Warband both doing goose eggs. That is definitely not going to help.
Yeah, no, not so much. But altogether, like, let's just review this a little bit. We had solid cover. Arclet getting destroyed like he did, that really hurt earlier in the game. I think that probably set 07 back quite a bit. They needed to get him.
You can see what he wanted, where they wanted the tank. The problem was they couldn't really find an angle where he wasn't going to get shot, and I think they kind of underestimated how many guns were watching that exact cross at that moment because he just got roasted. Now looking at it, Makos 4,500, 94 fantasy points. Then Vetro in that M48, 3,100. Could have been a little bit higher, but like we were talking about, didn't land those extra shots. FC Dynamo, Ox, Canadian Impact all having solid games, drops off after there.
And it does. Now, looking at the second page, this is where it hurts, James. Look at that. Arclet, Warbander.
Two eggs. No, and you know, even Wallhacks being down that low, Caller and light tank player, when they never really asked him, he can't. There is nothing wrong there. It's just not his job to do damage.
Yeah, just 07 didn't get to deal damage on their top tankers. That's just what hurts. When that doesn't happen, strat doesn't come together.
Yep, and we're actually having a timeout call by 07.
After that first one, they want to make sure they get a second to kind of collect themselves and make sure they're good to go for battle number 2.
Being the 1-in-1 map that Sand River typically is right now, favoring the defenders.
Yeah,
they're not. I don't think they'll take it too badly that they lost that offense. So it's going to be a challenge, especially versus a team like Elevate. But this is their best chance of getting around right now is
on defense,
on a map that favors defense. So they're going to take their time to make sure that everyone's in their position, understands their job, and does it right. And you have to imagine if this doesn't go their way, I don't think anything in the next couple maps will. Ghost Town up next, and then it's going to be once again Elevate on defense on Muravanka, 4-0 potentially at that point.
That's
I know we talk about Muravanka favoring the attackers recently, but Elevate defense on Muro I see going very similar to how a Sand River defense went. I don't really see anyone asking any questions there
or really getting success. Much success. Yeah, even if they do, it just doesn't. You get to see another Arclet blowing up in the middle of a cross.
I mean, at least 07 didn't have any ammo racks this game, unlike Eclipse. I mean, got that going for him at least.
Silver linings.
Look on the bright side, guys.
Such silver linings, James. Wow. All right, lineups. So we're looking at them now. 07's going to bring a 5A, where they're going to bring 2 103Bs, 3 Bad Chats, and an M48 Patton played by Meadowhawk. Dodoma and External in the 3 5As, one also with Oxmathis, 2 Bats, 3 Batsari, and 200 LT. I should probably look at every tank.
Yep. Once again, we saw this coming out of Elevate on their last match day. This is, like I said, just a bully lineup. Is all this is 2 hit squads, one moves, the other moves separately, and you just crush things.
That's what you're going to see most of the time, by the way, just because there are 7 tankers, like 7 players on a battlefield. Generally in this game, grouping up with 3 or 4 tanks is reliable. Once you get to 5 and 6 tanks, when your full team is, all 7, it starts to get messy.
Well, we let these teams set up. One thing I will say, that there's probably some aspiring callers out there, and one thing I'll say, something you see a lot of new callers especially do early on in their careers is they try to overcomplicate things. They have one tank go to one position, one tank go to another. It doesn't matter if it's strongholds, clan wars, small tournaments. They kind of split their tanks up across a lot of little maps. They see some kind of intricate things like we see here in the Gold League. Early on, you don't need to do that. You're better off keeping just a couple groups. Now you can change the numbers in the groups, but use just 1 or 2 groups and keep your guns together and make sure that those 2 groups in themselves can cover each other. You do that, you're gonna have a lot more success than trying to be, all spread out. One person spotting this lane, one person over here. If you kind of keep your guns together, you're going to have more success early on.
Real quick, though, looks like a slight skirmish to start this one off. You're seeing FC Dynamo and Colosoid head to the mid of the map. This is a very common old-school position to go to in order to put pressure on tanks going towards that 2-cap position. It doesn't matter what version of this map you're looking at. That's been always a strategy that's been used. A little risky, but doesn't really pay off much this time. It did, however, get Elevate's attention for a moment and could have done some damage, but maybe next time. And those Bat Chats are going to move elsewhere.
Now, I'm going to go back to a point I made during the last game. Remember how I said the trick to this map offensively is opening up the map and playing your angles. Look at how spread out Elevate are right now. Look at the map coverage they have. They have a T100 all the way down the south, a Bat Chat down there next to him, tanks in the middle, Bat Chat up in the north spotting. They are working every possible angle at this defense right now and not giving 07 an inch, and they're doing it so quickly. Look, if you notice how long 07 took to get into position last time, going all the way down south. It was a good 6-minute mark before anything was near that cap. Elevator already in a threatening position 2 minutes into the game.
That they are. And that's one of the important things that teams like Elevate often understand is that if you can just start with some decisive action, you just show up somewhere, all of a sudden pick a perfect route, try not to get spotted on your way there, and just show up and start an engagement. You can often find yourselves coming out ahead even if you're at a slight disadvantage, just because of those little things, this element of surprise, just little violence of action. You got things under control. Now, looking at where Elevate is now, things are slowing down a bit. They've moved that T100 further up. They've moved one of their Bat Chats up into the north as well, where it looks like, is that going to be cap pressure from wall hacks? It looks like it might just be. Not a bad idea.
It's either going to be that, or I thought for a second he was going to try to push under the guns up into that ridge there, try to open up that angle on Namakos, but it looks like Brett is just going to get aggro up there. And Ox actually gets tracked in the open as the heavies push across onto the cap. This is where the pressure is going to come from.
And it is. Nicely done. This means, though, the Sturv Makos from 07 is going to get a little bit more aggressive. He knows there's less guns looking at him, and that there's a few more opportunities to get some work done. So he'll be seeing what he can do for the next few minutes. I see Canadian in the south, and that T100 took a little bit of damage. He's squaring off against Bat Chat. It looks like a tank destroyer played by, I'm guessing that's going to be Arclet. And these next moves from Elevate are going to be crucial for them to finish things off. It looks like they're going to load HE to fire against Makos and his Sturv.
Yeah, well, you have to look at the tanks shooting at Makos right now. Majority of them are Chinese heavy tanks. What do they fire as their gold round? Heat shells. What does that STRV have from the front? A heat shield that's made to stop heat shells. So especially you couple that with being hull down, it's going to be difficult. So you break out the shell that always does damage, quote unquote, and see what happens.
Well, so far it's reduced Makos to just over half hit points. Cap pressure is on. Elevate putting that onto the number 2 cap. And the response from 07, we're going to need to see it pretty soon. Or else, oh no, now 2 cap pressure. meaning someone's going to have to go deal with that T100 Canadian Impact. Mako's taking even more damage, even more so again. And
death by paper cuts is still death.
Yep, I'm not seeing a huge response from 07 is kind of the big problem here. I'm going to move off of Makos, see what anyone else is doing on the side. Oh, at all, really. Just wallhack sitting here on cap. Vetro's watching the middle of the map, I guess.
Now, Colsoy did get across unspotted, so Canadian Impact could be in some trouble here, and he doesn't know it. Now, Vetro is close to cover. Now he's spotted. Now they're going to know he's there. That was unlucky. Canadian Impact was just the right angle to spot him through the gap. Now Vetro's going to know to turn and help. Now Makos is down to a one-shot. Ox might be able to pick up the kill here. Nope, doesn't get it. External, though, does from downtown. That is going to leave Elevate in a pretty strong position now that they have this 2-cap secured, but I don't think they realize that a lot of these tanks have rotated around to the south, including the Bat Chats.
Ooh, Fosta now taking a lot of focus. Damage going on to him. Dodoma puts a shell into him, and External might have that finishing shot. He does, and he gets the kill. Nicely done.
External picking up multiple kills right now, and now Elevate, this is going to start snowballing. That one pick from Makos really turning this in their favor. They now can force this 2-cap pressure despite having tanks down in the south. And this is going to be really hard for 07 to stop. I don't think they have anyone even in position to stop this cap right now. There's no one really even to get a reset except for Fosta, it looks like. Not Fosta, who's that 5A over there? That's going to be, is that Meadowhawk and the Patton?
Yeah,
oh, it's a Bat Chat. Yeah, Meadowhawk and then the Bat Chat real close, but no one's in position to get a reset right now.
No one at all. Not even close. It's over. I think 07 knows it's over at this point. They're not even trying to get to the cap. You can see there's 3 tanks on there, and no one's even trying. Well, maybe now. Warbander's moving into position. Dodoma gets off the cap just as cap ends, gets a kill, and that's going to mean it'll extend for a few seconds and be over.
Tunnel visioned.
Tunnel visioned.
Tunnel visioned. I don't think they realized that 3 tanks got on that cap that quickly.
And then by the time they looked up, they realized that everybody who was in a position to do anything about the cap had just died.
Yep, it's a mental slip. It's unfortunate, but you have to keep an eye on that cap. It's something.
And it's an ace, by the way.
Clean sweep.
Yep, no tanks died on the side of Elevate. They took the cap, lost no one, dealt plenty of damage, picked up 3 kills in the meantime. Altogether, a satisfying win for them. If not, super exciting, still worth something.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, 07, they were holding on there, but the second Makos went down, and Elevate kind of solved that puzzle. From that point on, you could just see it snowball real quickly. They just got pick after pick.
Let's take a look at the numbers, though.
2,100 out of External, 3 kills, 80 fantasy points, and after there, it really is unimpressive across the board just because it ended in a cap, and there were so many tanks still alive. Dodoma, Vetro, Brett, Canadian Impact, all doing, 1,000 plus. Makos, top damage dealer at 1,100. Not a whole lot of fantasy points in this game outside of External, which he was a big fantasy pick of the last couple of seasons, but this season a lot of people seem to be going with Vetro, who's had some massive games and is Elevate's top fantasy point scorer by, so I mean it's understandable, but External is not anyone you can write off.
Nope, not at all. But we'll have to see what's going to happen next. Let's move on to Ghost Town. Talk a little bit about that. So we've already seen the 2 wins here by Elevate start off on Sand River. We knew this one was already Elevate sided, but Ghost Town, another map that is, well, Elevate knows this map inside and out. 07, can they find an answer? They're going to be starting here on the
offense.
attack. Yeah.
Map picking, in my opinion, really did not go 07's way at any point. Sand River, they had to start on offense. Ghost Town, they have to start on offense, and
Muravanka, they chose. 07 chose attack on Ghost Town.
That is fair.
They chose that. They decided that. They could have chose to defend starting.
But my point is then after that, they have to attack again on Muravanka, not something that's easy. So this is going to be a tall task, and judging by how those Sand River games went, I don't see Ghost Town being too different. I'd love to be surprised, but I don't know that 07 have them in it right now.
It's all right.
I want to believe, guys. I want to, but
it's all right. When these kind of things happen, James, sometimes the best thing for us to do is focus on why Elevate's doing an amazing job, kind of point out those little things so that we can just kind of create a contrast between 07 and Elevate, show you why Elevate does well, show you why 07 is a quality team, but why they're not Elevate, why they're not really there. And that's something we can really work on for you guys when we know these maps are going to be a little one-sided. Yeah. So looking at the lineups coming in, James, we got that 50B from FC Dynamo, 07, 3 mice, a Fosh B, and a Bat Chat against 2 mice, a T57, 2 Type 5s, a 5A, and a Bat Chat. So what do you think of that?
Standard defense coming out of Elevate, nothing special. Bat Chat to open up the south. Vetro to just do Vetro things behind the T57s and Type 5s. You'll see them go off in pairs. You'll see them control different points, and Vetro will just bounce around between them. Dodo will probably play a hold down somewhere, probably in the north.
It's a Dodo thing to do.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty standard defense here out of Elevate. 07 with that lineup, my guess, the Fosh B is the one that is kind of the question mark for me. It's going to be kind of hard to make it work on this map. The only thing I can really think of is a 1-2 line play with the Fosh maybe, or sit him back in base and just have him be a tank destroyer and sit in a ridge and hopefully kill things.
I'm gonna see, because Mako's...
I mean, that's where he's going right now.
He's going, he turns... Where is he going? What are you doing, Makos? What is he doing? I just want to see where he goes. So I'm gonna wait and see just... That. Yeah, he's actually that. He's in the back of the map. He is looking towards mid. Here, I'll try and set up an angle so it's easier to understand what he's looking at. Makos, from his position, you can see him right there. I'm gonna fly out, and you can see he looks right towards a traditional spot to fight on the map. That position you see on screen right now is one of the hottest spots. And so what Makos has done is he's decided to look directly at that angle. Now, things to note. There's a tree in the way, makes it sometimes a little harder to, get a visual confirmation of what exactly you're aiming at and what little bits of cover could be in the way. But from there, he can shoot that corner. And that's going to be the plan for 07. They're banking on the fact that Elevate will make an engagement in that position.
Making that Fosh B, though, work at that range. The shell penetration and the accuracy.
APCR shells, yeah.
Against super heavies. I like the Fosh B. I'd love to see more of it, but it needs to come in certain roles. Prokhorovka, for example, good place to bring it.
Yeah.
There's a few other instances we can see it. I know some of the other regions have brought it on mines on defense. Park it back there. Somewhere where it can knock down a push, shoot at lightly armored tanks.
Yes.
Last I checked, Mouse is not a lightly armored tank.
But Fosh B, I mean, it can do it, maybe. Well, we've never seen this position actually used by WGLNA teams, so we don't know, for example, can Makos make this work? Because that's important too. Individual player skill comes into this. Can he make this work? Will this become relevant? Will Elevate actually move into a position where this is relevant, or will it become just kind of a lost potential, something that just didn't work out? That'll happen. And we shall see, because this is going a little slow for you guys right now. We'll see what happens. Mice just kind of squaring off. Let's go check on Colosoid, though. Colosoid, chilling out on the west side of the map. We haven't caught up with him in a while. He's found no one. No one's found him. He's just having a nice time. So we'll just see what happens with him in a minute. Hopefully he'll be able to move in and get some spotting or some damage. If so, that's awesome. If not, well, this looks like it's the push from 07, though. So Colosoid should be joining everyone. There he goes. Good job, buddy.
And the push is going to come out from 07 now. Looks like they're going to push some mice across onto Cap. Fosh B still in the south.
Yep, looks
so
like...
I see what they're going for now, to see the angles. They've set up most of their tanks over on the 3-4 line. They're going to try to cover that with those tanks over there while the mice are on Cap. The only angle they won't have covered is going to be those south 2 angles, and that Fosh B could potentially punish someone if they came around that angle.
There we go. Fosh B puts a shell into Brett, and one of them bounces.
The problem is that I don't think that Elevate will really respect the fact that that tank's there, because I don't think they'll expect it to do much damage effectively versus mice at this range.
Yeah, Makos fires, though. 400 into external. That's right into his... Yeah, that's right into the front. There we go. Not a bad shot. And then one in the side of Brett. There we go. Makos gets all his shells out. So, there you go. 07 put a Fosh B in a position and made it work. Flanking mice took fire. Now he's on reload, so he isn't exactly dealing a huge amount of damage, but things could be worse. Hit points, though, are looking not bad for 07. I thought that this would be a little bit more Elevate-sided, but it's about even. Now, actually, even slightly in favor of 07.
Keep an eye on the bat chats over there. There's a one-on-one going on. Colsoid versus Canadian Impact. They're squaring off right now. Colsoid gonna chase him down, but Canadian Impact, I think, has the edge.
Oh, nice shot. External's gonna get a huge kill there on Warbender, and the Foch B has reloaded. And we'll just keep
and as you see, they're able to angle their armor.
And they've got him spotted, so now they know where he is. Yeah, that works out.
But Andypan's no distraction for him to push around and get the kill.
That's important right there.
And they're trying to get the kill onto External. One more shot. Ox looking for a shot on the back of these mice. And it looks like External might get one more shot off. External Ox
Meadowhawk's gonna have to get the kill. Meadow goes for it, but look,
Vetro.
T57 shows up.
And the rest of the tanks for Elevate coming around the corner right now.
Oh, Andy wasn't looking at him. Oh, and then he tries to salvage that last kill and doesn't quite get it. Now the positions of 07 are very split. Colosoid, though, has a nice angle on the rear positions of Dodoma and Vetro on them. Although Ox Mathis has to still worry about Makos. Let's jump and follow him. Where did Makos go? Makos closed the distance.
57 versus 50B going on, but Vetro's down to a 2-shot, so he has to be careful. Makos finding some shots onto the front of this Type 5.
Not enough damage to get the kill. Hopefully someone can move in and get a finisher on that, but might not matter. FC Dynamo doesn't take down Colosoid takes down Vetro there. Dodoma is rather healthy. Arclet's about to go down to Canadian Impact. Yes, he does. And FC Dynamo and Colosoid are the only ones left. FC Dynamo being on reload. One more shell from Canadian Impact. That'll be a kill there. And that'll leave Colosoid as the last tank alive. Canadian Impact might go hunting, but he's a little low on the hit points. And this is Elevate's defense to win now. Every reason to win. It takes about 2 shells to kill every low health tank on the side of Elevate. Wallhacks will take 2 shells, Dodoma will take 2 shells, Canadian Impact will take 2 shells, Ox Mathis will take a whole 2 clips.
Yeah,
so
that happens in Type 5s.
About over at this point, guys. He's going for a run and gun, but not this time.
Picks it up. And that is going to be a 3-0 in favor of Elevate. Now, to be fair, 07, the strat I like. They punished Elevate decently early on. But
let's talk about that Foch. Let's talk about the Foch B.
Well, here's what I really need to see.
You need to see his damage. He did well. Makos did 5,647 damage. He did an excellent job. Here's what's great about what 07 did there, and I'm glad that we got to talk about and look at what Makos did, because of all the things that happened in that battle, the Foch B being in that position was a solid choice. What happens is you don't put tanks in that position to slow things down, right? Because if you have hull down, mice trying to play hill games, they're the mice that you want the Foch B to fire on aren't actually going to expose themselves, right? They're going to stay in cover.
Right.
But if you expose that part of your position, if you make that flank open, like what 07 did here, you actually invite that push. And because of that, well, Elevate could do nothing to resist, and they went for it. Now, of course, in the end, things didn't quite work out, but we still had a Foch B deal 5,647 damage. So ultimately, I think that on its own, that works. You can use that.
Yeah,
you can do this.
It was good damage. Now, you also have to wonder if that was just something Elevate hadn't seen before and they just didn't know how to respond to it. Yeah, it's this one time it may have worked, but now this is one of those one-trick ponies that I wonder that if, now that they've seen it, they'll come up with a different way to respond or understand how to cancel it out.
You could probably employ that Foch B in different ways across the map as well. So there's
on Ghost Town, though, that's what I struggle to see.
Well, that's what they're going to have to figure out. That's the genius of these guys. They're the ones who are going to show us how that's how.
External, Wallhacks, Vetro, Nox all doing around 3K, decent fantasy points, FC Dynamo, and Colosoid doing what they can as well. Second page, Canadian Impact, and then it drops off pretty heavily after there. Nothing too surprising.
All right.
So that is going to be a 3-0 in favor of Elevate. Now it is going to be Elevate on the offense. So, can 07 hold on?
Probably not. At this point, I mean, when you're down 3-0 like this, generally it's hard to stay focused on victory. But we'll see if 07 can keep it together. With 50B, 2 mice, Type 5s, 2 of them, Batchat and Leopard.
Yep, and then Elevate 50B, 2 mice, a Type 5, 2 5As, and a Batchat. And I will note that it is going to be Meadowhawk playing his favorite tank.
The Leopard 1. Solid tank. Decently zippy, little soft, but decent damage output, decent accuracy, especially on the move. And one of the best things it does is what we're about to see Meadow do, which is go for a classic jump.
Just going to get his speed up. He's going to hit it at a sideways angle, and he should be able to get up on top and then do what the Leopard does best, which is snipe. Yeah, he's going to do it beautifully first time. Makes it up there.
Yep. Colosoid, in the meantime, has gone for an opening scout run. He found a few tanks from Elevate, spoiling a little bit of the push and giving intel to 07. Doesn't look like 07's making any huge adjustments yet. They will be sending FC Dynamo into the backfield, possibly flexing around either the 1 line or maybe slightly more to the east on the 2, where you can create some crossfire on the impending push from Elevate. Because what we know now is that we probably don't need to set up to worry about the number 1 cap in the north, the traditional spot that gets pressured out and has a little low ground to put some 5As in, right? That's not going to happen. So that's fantastic for 07. That means they can put more of their attention in the right direction. And what's even better is we've got good spotting from Colosoid. A little credit right there. He just spotted 3 tanks, one of them the 50B. That's a major damage dealer. And with that, he can leave, back off, avoid taking any damage, especially from Type 5s, something that absolutely tears through a Batchat.
Yeah, it's not something you want to have hit you when you're playing something as soft as one of the French tanks.
Now, good response, though, from Elevate. They understand that Colosoid's going to need to keep giving ground, and he can't exactly hold his position. So what he's doing is he's just going to... You're going to move Canadian Impact in through the south in just a minute in that Batchat, and he'll continue to pressure Colosoid out. It'll be important to get Meadowhawk to bring some support fire when Colosoid ideally does 1v1 against Canadian Impact.
Yeah, and he's going to get in there, and he's going to get into that little berm. Knows it's not wise to push over right now. He's looking for a shot. He's not spotted yet, so he can just back down a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Looks like Canadian Impact's going to look and find Colosoid. 1 shell out, goes a little bit over.
Critical hit.
Second one goes over. Sorry, you're right. First one's crit, second one goes over. He decides to drop shells and reload. Same time, not a whole lot of action from the rest of Elevate. They're holding positions right now. Probably going to just wait for Canadian to reload and put more pressure onto Colosoid. Just don't want to get ahead of themselves. Right now, if the push happens and Elevate doesn't wait for that pressure to come from Canadian, they could find themselves taking a little more damage than they would like to as a part of the toll. Of course, time is still on their side. They've got 6 minutes and 50 seconds. And we'll see. We'll see what happens in a moment. It's not always a bad idea to slow things down, especially when you've got a good idea of what's going on. And look at the positions. I mean, Ox Mathis right now, and External, and Dodoma, those 3 super heavies, the positions that they're in, usually you would have met something by now, right? Mm-hmm. Usually.
Oh, and Colosoid's going to get tracked out in the open. Looks like he's going to get clipped out by Canadian Impact. Support fire not coming in from Meadowhawk in the distance. And that's going to be Impact picking up the kill on the Colosoid.
Oh, and Meadowhawk's just now getting a chance to turn around and look. He was firing on Ox Mathis a moment ago. And with that, Meadow might need to drop off of his high hill. And
you have to wonder if that's the language barrier in effect right there.
Maybe so. That's important to note as well, because while we have the UI that gives us all this information about hit points, it can be a little trickier, of course. Well, everyone knows that, it's obvious, but it's a little trickier in game to keep track of your allies' hit points. Although damage still coming in from Meadowhawk on his hill. He's got a good 759 right now. And that's going to be pressure onto the cap. Elevate initiating their opening move. They're going to move Vetro behind their lines, flex him around to the east, and hopefully catch 07 off guard. With that, they should be able to kind of close in. And altogether, not bad from Elevate, however, a bit delicate at this moment. If 07 decides to make a quick push, they could focus out External and Dodoma before too much support comes in, but a little risky. There we go, about 30 seconds on the cap. Wallhacks is moving up to start screening. Warbander's moving in, trying to find a reset. Gets tracked though, and is forced to waste a little time to kit up, get back over. There we go.
And the response is coming out of 07 right now.
Looks like cap is not the true objective for Elevate. All they wanted to do was bait in Warbander, move on up, and begin focusing him down. All right, Warbander is tracked, nicely played. And where's the support? Ox Mathis will probably bring a shell as well when he can.
And they actually have a pretty good crossfire wall hacks between FC Dynamo and Arclit, but FC Dynamo's having to reload right now. Canadian Impact's coming in, so he has to back off, and wall hacks takes a large shot.
There's the crossfire coming in. Vetro moving in. Arclit and Makos don't have really anywhere to run, and It'll be just a moment before Arclight goes down.
This isn't over for Elevate. They have the guns, but HP is even.
Yeah, HP is not... Well, it's quite spread, the damage through the Elevate tanks, and that's because of just availability of targets. But Elevate's putting the pressure on, and they're going to actually run out of some momentum for just a minute, as they do have the 50B on reload. Brett's not exactly a high volume of fire tank. But 07 doesn't really have a huge number of guns on the battlefield. That's kind of a problem. And with that, Warbender goes down now. Not able to keep himself alive. Andy Pans and Makos are left alone without really a whole lot of support. So there's just too many guns.
Finding the shots onto Makos, but External ends up picking up the kill. Now Vetra is going to close in that 50B on the side there. You should find a shot onto Andy Pans here. It's going to be the kill shot.
Yep. And
that should be it. That should be a 4-0 for Elevate in just a minute. 2 tanks left alive, but 4,000 HP separating the two. Ox is going to push in, trying to find that penetrating shot onto the turret of that 50B. He's just going to roll around. Only 642.
That was a bounce.
Everyone else cleans it up. Meadowhawk, the only one left alive in that Leopard 1, doing what he can.
Believing in himself.
Come on, buddy. Get those fantasy points. And Vetro, in turn, is just going to go straight at him. Get the kill. And that is going to be a 4-0 for Elevate. You can get your pen, Randall.
I accidentally threw my pen.
You like to throw things, don't you?
No.
All right, now we move on.
I don't know why I was so offended by that. All of a sudden I was just like, no, I don't throw things, James. Do not throw.
Well, 07's defense there, not holding up to the attack from Elevate.
Okay.
You know, I like what Elevate, or I like what 07 tried to go for there. Decent map coverage, but Meadowhawk's shot priority there should have been onto the bad shot on the 1 line. Now, once again, maybe a little bit of the language barrier, not knowing that Makos needed help at that moment.
Also, just how quickly that will happen when you're just focused in on one thing and all of a sudden just bat chat shows up. I mean, it's not exactly like he fires every half second or anything. It's 2 seconds change, but if a bat chat shows up and you're in a one-on-one engagement, it's kind of hard to tell your allies and then give them time or do something. We're looking at that damage after the match.
Yep. Vetro, only 1,602 kills, 31 fantasy points. A little bit lackluster there. Meadowhawk, 1,800 on the second page. After that, nothing too surprising. Ox a little bit surprising, 1,300, but his role that game really didn't involve having to put out a lot of damage. And when you have 3 players over 3K on your team, everyone seems to be doing their part. They were under a little bit of pressure for a short bit there, but they did such a good job at rotating their HP, keeping tanks moving around, focusing out tanks. It just snowballed out. You can be equal on HP, but when you're down guns, you're just at a disadvantage just because it's less DPM available to you on the fight, less alpha, as you will, able to be into the fight, less angles you can open up, all that sort of thing. Now, if you have that HP and a fewer tanks, you can bully a little bit, but you have to trade that out and get kills quickly, and at no point did we ever see 07 go, all right, we're equal on HP, we need to really utilize that right now. It just never happened. Now, digress real quick, top tier, 5-0 Teal Team 6.
Yep.
Not too surprising there. Top tier seemed to be really on it on Tuesday, and yeah, Teal Team 6 found the business end, so that's not going to be enjoyable. And then F7 versus Dare, it looks to be a 5-2.
Yep. Favor Dare over F7. F7 picks up 2 of them, 1 on Mines and 1 on Cliff. But let's get back to the match. We're about to get into Murawanka. This could be the final battle. This is the last chance for 07 to put any points on the board and really bring it to Elevate and show them that they've got the stuff.
Yep, and now we are on to Murawanka, and we talked about this earlier. It is going to be 07 having to attack. Now, Elevate, looking at their lineup, a 215B, Kronwagen, 4 bat chats, and a T100. 07 on their hand, an I7, a 5A, a Foch B, a 103, and 3 bat chats. Now, this is one of those maps where I think the Foch B is a little bit more appropriate than Ghost Town. Now, can't knock it on Ghost Town just because they did make it work. I question its flexibility outside of that one spot, but I digress. On this map open lanes, a lot more fast mobile tanks, where pushes tend to come from 1 or 2 directions. That Foch B could just be in a position to pump out a lot more damage. I see it being a little bit more practical here.
Possibly so. Now, looking at opening moves, Wallhacks is going to be heading into a passive bush. Little forward position where he can hopefully get some early light spotting. At the same time, I'm noting Canadian Impact is going to be heading to a forward passive position. It looks like a trap being set up for Elevate on the south side of the map, looking towards the east. So Canadian's going to get spotting onto FC Dynamo, onto whoever he can, and then you're going to see Bat Chats unload as best they can. But I'm seeing blind fire off in the direction of Dodo, External, and Animate Lord Brett. So 07 might have an idea of what's going on. They might know the strat that's coming at them. Canadian does not spot a whole lot as he heads back towards his own lines. And this looks like Elevate's reading 07 fairly well. They understand that this is, well, it's going to be east side play into the forest.
Yep, and looking at it, Wahak's just chilling in the bush right now. Everyone else just waiting for 07 to push down in the south.
And there we go, first move coming out from Meadowhawk. He's going to lead the way in his IS-7 over there.
It looks like Elevate are actually over here in the south ready for this, and they're finding a lot of damage as these tanks come in. Now Impact takes a lot of damage, but he gets to the berm, and the return fire for Elevate seems to be pretty good with this Batchat hit squad. The Canadian Impact waiting to get delit before he tries to leave, but he needs to do it quickly because Meadowhawk will respot him if he waits too long. This is his only chance to get out alive, and it looks like he is going to make it.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take an 07 listen in and see what they have to say, what's going through their minds as they have their last chance here to pick up a win on Murrow.
Can I get a? Let's just get 2 bat chats on right away. Better, you're gonna play like
far away.
Make us. Yep. You're going out here.
They have 4 bat chats. He's gonna like see 4 bats in front of him right now.
It's not gonna be just him.
Well, he wouldn't see 4 bats right now because one is here. Was here.
Join the force right past 31 week, like behind Dynamo.
You could sort of jump on like the hill actually.
Okay.
I think that'd be good. 1 bat on cap. The SDR is getting out here. Can this bat rotate back towards like hill as well? Make us. You need to be looking for shots for like to here. Okay. You need to be ready to shoot here.
Okay. Yeah.
Like you need like good angles.
They're blinded right now.
You need to be able to easily like see it though. That's the thing.
I can see out to here pretty good.
Засветим, мы засветим то, который сейчас ваншотного, который будет там.
Like I'm spotting for you as well, man.
Они blind.
Seems like they're just keep blinding.
I don't know where they're blinded from. By the way, did they break buildings? Нам нужно точно 2 бата именно в этом месте.
Какую разницу, или я здесь буду стоять, или здесь?
I think this is redundant. Can 1 bat just like sit with the I-7 instead?
Is there any difference if he's there or his?
He can port north.
Можно, короче, вот тут просто делать.
Я шотный, блядь, я никуда не поеду. Они максимум могут по первой типа вырываться, блядь, где-то отстрелять.
Son of a bitch, make us forgot that the T100 can slip by. The bat chats can't though. So.
The bat chats are going like.
Can I poke over and kill him?
This is so aggressive.
I won't get lit if he has a.
Might have bats. He's saying that you might have bats going through here right now, aggressive.
Oh no! Here's 1 bat. Here's 1 bat on me. All right, Nico's got the kill on the T100.
Anyway, I got shot once by 215. That's it.
Надо вот этого как-то убивать.
Yo, make us watch out. Looks like I might get dumped. Actually, probably
yeah,
not.
Well, if you get dumped, that's good.
Okay,
they're behind a ridge.
No.
Trade.
Oh my god.
Fuck. What the fuck?
I got permit.
I'm gonna get.
This guy is like driving a.
I have 5 seconds until I'm loaded.
I'm going back south and supporting for now. Should still have north control too. Dodo, you should.
I'm going C1.
Yeah, I have HP.
I
could go up there, Wally. I have HP. Or where do you want me?
I hit him once.
Oh,
hit him once.
they're all in.
I only have 2 shots. I only have 2 shots for the cap.
You hit all landing where?
Shot him with HE.
One on
No,
the cap.
I'm reloading again. Okay.
I can always
I am
go back.
too low. I'm not gonna make it to cap as soon
Yeah,
as I
Greg
go
can't
cap.
go to cap. Greg can't go to cap.
I can push.
I have
Here.
HP. I have HP. I'm full.
No,
HP.
you shouldn't go full. Like I can go.
I can't believe he broke my gun again.
We could send Berto.
I'm not gonna blind fire anymore. I
Yeah,
only have
do that.
13.
Okay, go, betcha.
He needs fantasy points.
Do you seriously want me going?
I think Vetro would die.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way I make it.
It's 3 minutes. We need to get
Shot.
it.
Can I go? Can I just go do it?
Go ahead, dude.
Along the city side here? Or you want
Like,
this
I'm
to
already
do it,
city
do it.
side.
You need to just go.
I'm going.
Bayside. He yelled so loud that you
Bayside.
Baylight, dude.
Stair was down like 500 some health that way.
Yeah, I just need to hit all my shots.
I got tagged by a bad shot.
Yeah, bad chat. He's like,
Born to be
of course, I'm on fire.
Dude.
I'm on fire. God damn it, I die here.
That was bad.
Never running rations again. Fuck that.
I'm reloading.
Some bounce the stairs.
Under me.
I'm gonna come north with you, Wally. Oh no, we
far
can't. Fuck. Shit. I forgot about
We didn't kill Worm.
Yeah, they're gonna. They're probably gonna come north at this
How
point.
did we not kill them?
Because I have a dead gunner. I've had one the entire game.
That's
They're
why.
back on cap.
Externo's gonna have to be the one to go to cap.
Yeah.
We just.
External, then
we
Ox.
should wait.
No,
we should wait
hold
a
on.
minute.
You come all the way up here. We're gonna
Yeah,
go
we can push
behind.
five.
I'm not blind firing. I only have 8 APC left.
I'm gonna. No, 2 on. We can't. Fuck. I think I need to go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Send the heavy.
I'm going.
External and Wally have to group up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
What
ready.
do you mean?
north is a bad idea. Foch is.
Spotted. They moved someone up. It might be the serve. I don't know.
You're lit?
Yeah, they moved someone.
Rations really biting Elevate in the rear of this round. Ox pushing in the Kronwagen just to get the lights.
And a Kronwagen of all tanks. That's unexpected.
He gets one light. They need to find the Foch B though. They don't know he's on cap. The Warbandit, they need to kill at least Warbandit at the bare minimum. They need to take the gun so it can't get on cap.
No, he's going to get safe.
Yeah, he's trying to find a safe angle. He's going to get behind, safe from the STRV, but Meadowhawk should be able to come around and get the kill shot onto him. He does. Ox gets one shot off. Now, look at the time, though. Minute left on cap.
External and Wallhack's moving in from the north. So External's been spotted. He is on a beeline straight for the 2-cap, though. He's just going.
He has to at this point. Someone has to get the resets.
Second hit.
They need to find that Foch B. If they get the Foch B, they have a chance.
Nope, not going to happen. Not this time. And there goes External. Wallhacks, maybe their only hope.
Vetro, who has a dead gunner,
who's had one the whole game,
and had a dead driver, had a dead gunner, or not dead gunner, but a broken gun for a while. Meadowhawk's gonna push in, screen in position. They're all trying to kill Vetro right now. Cap, 10 seconds. Can Elevate manage to draw this out? 6 seconds.
1v1's Colosoid.
And no reset coming in here, even though they're all spotted now. And that is going to be it. That's going to be 07 managing to put a point up on the board.
There, they did it, guys. They did it. We got balloons, and we don't have budget for that. 07. 07 puts a point on the board. All right. So the entire reason that worked, I think, is Arclet being so annoying in that stirp. How many shells how much damage did he get out? Because his only target the entire battle, I believe, was...
So he did 3,400 damage.
Yeah.
43 shots fired, 15 hit for 9 penetrations. Oh, the module damage onto Vetro.
Yeah, there was one shell fired quite early in the game, and we noticed that Vetro's gunner was gone.
Yeah, and he was running rations. And I was going to say, the thing that really was a problem for Elevate here was the rations on both Dodo and Vetro. Vetro had a dead gunner the whole game, and then Dodo, when he pushed in, because he wasn't running a fire extinguisher, he took one shot and got set on fire and pretty much lost all his HP from that one pass. And looking at it, Meadowhawk, 3,400 or 3,700 damage, 2 kills, 108 fantasy points. Not bad there. Arclet in that STRV, another 72. Vetro top damage dealer, even with the dead gunner the whole game, 40 fantasy points.
Nice.
FC Dynamo and Kolstoid, the Ukrainians, doing what they can. Almost 2k apiece. External Ox, nothing really special there.
Yeah. I think that's probably something to pay attention to, is that Elevate went for a lot of solid moves. They got the kills they needed to. They just really weren't dealing damage most of the time. And that was 07, I think, very specifically putting themselves in positions where they were trying to maximize that efficiency, where they would not trade damage and just deal some of their own.
My biggest, I guess, criticism of Elevate that game would be when you spot a tank on cap, you need to have enough guns in position to make sure it dies. You cannot.
But they were already in a bad spot. Like they lost their scout earlier than they wanted to. They'd gone for an initial push from the north side, but ended up not working out super well for them. Like they paid a lot of hit points, they got a kill out of it, but they didn't get quite as much as they needed to really set their
my point is this, is because they were going for such map coverage. Sure, I'll get back to it in a second. I'm going to go line up real quick. 07, 2 5As, 3 Batchats, a 140 and a T100. Elevate and I7, 3 5As and 3 Batchats. Now my point is this, is they were spending so many resources to go for the map control and to get up north and try to get it around. When the Batchats got spotted on cap, there was only the 215B and a hold down Kronwagen shooting at it. The problem with this is, if you notice, Kronwagen, terrible DPM, 215B, well, it has good overall DPM. Instantly, it's only going to get 1 or 2 shots off. You cannot afford to let a tank get back onto cap multiple times. If you're going to waste the HP to get that light on that cap tank, you need to make sure it dies, so then they have to take another tank and put another tank onto cap, pulling it from elsewhere on the map. When you let them get on the cap multiple times, only getting the single reset, it doesn't really change anything for the attackers other than needing just another couple minutes to get the cap. You can run down the clock that way, but it's an ineffective way of doing it.
Yep. All right, now looking at the battle in front of us, looks like...
Not necessarily ineffective, but inefficient, I guess, is the best term over there.
Okay, I get you, bro. It's all right. Looking at the opening strats, though, Anime Lord Brett's going to head northwest with his other 5A battle buddy. That's going to be Vetro. Between the two of them, looks like a little opening, just kind of see what's happening, shoot at some bad men. Nothing crazy, but no real spotting. Brett gets himself lit, though, and I guess he might decide to stick around and put a few blind shots out in the direction of where he was getting shot from. And by the way, he's not far off. He's looking at FC Dynamo. FC Dynamo has been spotting in that location, but he's smart about it. He's not exactly staying in a position that's going to get hit. Yeah, you can see he's looking for us. Oh, timing though. Brett.
Was that blind?
Yeah. So what Brett knows the exact location that FC Dynamo needed to be, and this is
to spot him.
Yeah. And this is one of those high level skills that everyone cultivates. So for everybody out there that's kind of watching, the way that Brett is going up and over this, he's verifying by exactly where he positions himself, who's spotting him and from where. Because he knows if he stops, backs up, he knows like the delay on
3
Sixth
seconds.
Sense, exactly. You can kind of put things together. You understand, all right, this is the passive bush he'd go to. It makes perfect sense. Brett waits to see if he was spotted, but noticing he wasn't, held his shell and decided then to wait a moment, see if FC Dynamo would, peek again, or he doesn't know who, but someone is there. And he just kind of puts that shell out. Now what he's going to want to do, if he thinks that he's missing, he's going to try and hold a shot here and there to try and throw the timing off. Because what FC Dynamo is doing is he's going to be counting intervals. Exactly, just like that. So what Brett did was he held a shell, and he knew that if he waited, that his opponent was probably counting the average reload time for a 5A with, vent and a gun rammer. Not exactly that, but he knows the general timing. You know what I mean, right?
Right.
Yeah. And that's all he did right there. And that's what FC Dynamo got baited into. He has to spot. It's irresistible.
Well, part of it was just he was unlucky by pulling back out. He could have sat there in that bush passively.
But he decided
He decided to pull forward and back, and he pulled back just at the same time that Brett fired off.
And
just unlucky.
That's the high-level head game. No, that's what he's doing. So if you're FC Dynamo and you're playing a scout role like this, you have to know those consequences.
Right.
You have to know every time you spot, a high-level player might understand that you are spotting him simply by where he is, by the fact that he gets lit. So that's what the head game that these guys are playing.
Oh no, I understand. I understand the head game. It's just my point is it's just unlucky that he pulled back right at that exact moment that he went to blind fire. Because you have to remember, my point is this: is Brett had no idea the bat chat was there at that exact moment. He didn't know he was backing up. It's just bad timing.
I know. I'm telling you that he did that on purpose and that he got baited by.
No, I know.
So. More moves coming out. Mako's looking towards Ox. Not a whole lot happening right now. External's going to move up. And there he goes, finds metal. Not going to take a shot for it, though. Notice Colosoid, though. To his left, down on a building. Not spotted. And in just a moment, External might find himself in for a little surprise. It depends on what Colosoid's going to decide to do. If he even can find the angle. Because right now he is waiting and kind of looking in the direction, but...
Now, if you look at the angles, the crossfire, once again, we've talked about map coverage. Look at how spread the tanks from Elevate are. This is one of those really delicate things where they can't all get spotted at once, because if 07 can group up and smash one side, they could find that overmatch. But the thing is, look, Batchat in the north with the 5As, they can cover the 5A in the middle. IS-7 all the way in the south, they all can get guns on any one of those groups except for maybe the far extremes.
Oh, look at that up in the north. You've got Dodo moving in. This might be where our next engagement's going to happen. As he is moving up to try and passively spot up against FC Dynamo. It looks like he's going to find Arclet just fine. But will he go for that shot? Probably not. It's a little risky. Yeah, he's going to stay passive. All right. Next move forward will be that Batchat down the 1 line. The 5A in the north as well will be moving forward, and that's going to tighten the noose. From there, you'll see the main engagement from the Batchats moving across the east, and I'm expecting a fight more than a cap. Dodo's gonna go for the shell, but 5A side armor.
We were talking about the awkward spotting angles a minute ago. Look at the angle Colsoid's at actually right now, and he's actually going to get spotted as I say that. They're going to find him. He needs to get out of there quickly because I think he's going to get focused out between Ox and Canadian Impact.
But maybe he can put some shells. Nope, nothing into Vetro, unfortunately.
No, but he's going to get out of there only taking 1 shot of damage. That is a lucky Batchat.
Yeah, value. And there's Meadowhawk moving forward, so this is going to tell us that the counterplay from 07 is going to be a bit of a flank from Arclet and Meadowhawk. They're going to go towards Wally and External. Little do they know, this actually plays very much into Elevate's hands. Those 2 tanks are cut off without a whole lot of support, actually. They do have a Batchat behind them, but there's a Batchat also moving in. That's Dodo. And Dodo's moving in, spots FC Dynamo. FC Dynamo's got cover fire. Dodo's going to move in, put shells into FC Dynamo. No, into...
and all the Elevate tanks are going to stack up, and they're going to find these 2 5As. And there's not going to be enough of a response from 07, as both of them are going to go down within a matter of seconds. And the Batchat in the distance should be the next one focused out, as Dodoma is going to go ahead and leave FC Dynamo down to a 1-shot.
Yeah, he'll back off, try to take some cover, stay safe, but it probably won't be coming back into this fight for a moment. It's going to be important for everyone else to do some work, as it looks like Brett's going to move back towards the south. Looks like Canadian Impact is going to crest, move up on top of the hill, engage with Colosoid. Looks like he'll take a shot for his trouble, an extra one, and possibly one more. Nope, won't matter, because FC Dynamo is out of shells. And there he goes. Anime Lord Brett, though, charging into 2 tanks. He's going to 1v1 versus Makos, who is on fire. Rams him. Beautiful kill.
And that is going to be all she wrote. 07. I don't think we're really going to be able to do anything with only Warbender left alive. That should make it a 5-1. And unfortunately, 07 lasting a little bit longer than M60s did against Eclipse. So Elevate will lose in that sense, but they will win the match 5-1.
Congratulations, 07. They did get their point. So
they got around.
They got their point. That's all they wanted, and they got it.
Yep, and Elevate probably going to be a little bit frustrated with that game on Murrow. Things didn't quite go their way, a little bit bad RNG. As we heard Dodo say, the use of consumables definitely was not kind to them that game.
But that is his choice. That is your choice as a player to not bring that kit. to instead bring something else. Yep. And we've seen it time and time again bite players.
All the way back to 742.
Yep, it has always been a thing. An automatic fire extinguisher on the wrong tank, or rather the right tank, is that important.
Yep.
You need it on most of your British heavies. You need it on a lot of American tanks. The right German tank, it's a problem. You need to worry about these things. Sometimes rations aren't enough, and well, in that case, it certainly bit him. But you know what? 07 put up a decent fight, so a lot of credit to them for their one win.
They did what they could. They had some closer games, closer than some of us thought they would be, but Elevate just showed why they're Elevate. They got their guns together, they shared HP well, they focused fire. I think that was the biggest thing was throughout the night, the focus fire. 07 left a lot of low HP tanks alive, and to be fair, part of that's Elevate making it hard to get shots on those, but they just couldn't finish the kills quickly enough.
Yeah, just those little things, but that's why Elevate is the best team NA. That's why they are what they are.
Well, so it's hard to argue. They're undefeated for over a year now, except for on the international stage. So, it's the question is going into our finals here in a few weeks. Who can stop Elevate? Because so far, no one's been able to do it.
That's going to be the big question. It's all over for these lower teams. They don't seem to stand much of a chance. But the thing is, teams like Dare, teams like Eclipse, there may be some hope for them later on, but right now it's time to just triumph for Elevate. That's all this is today for them. Another win, more points to put them in the lead. And, well, just looking at the post-battle stats, you can see that Brett in this last one did 3,800. That's more than 1K above anyone else on his team.
Yeah, and then after that, Dodo, Canadian Impact, 2K plus, 75 points for Dodo there. Ox and Vetro up there on the front page, not getting a whole lot of damage. A couple people for 07 on the front, but most of them are going to be found here on the back page. No one getting above 30 points on the back. Wallhex and Meadowhawk bottom for both their teams, unfortunately.
Wally, not surprised. He often doesn't get to put up many points because of his role in the team. Although looking at the post-match stat, if you picked Makos today, you're in for a surprise because he didn't do half bad.
Yeah, no, 321, and Vetro 274, External 333, FC Dynamo 277.
But look at specifically the damage Makos did. He's actually 2K above anyone else. That's not a normal lead to see.
Especially with a couple of the Sand River and that Ghost Town game. He did 5,600, so 1/3 of his damage in 1 of 6 games. So, it's kind of hard to not be that big a lead on the second page. Nothing too surprising down there. Wellhacks having one of those match days where he wasn't really in any sort of damage dealing role. A lot of passive scouting. Nothing too surprising outside of the Ghost Town game. So not surprising to see him down there. But he calls so well for the rest of the team, the rest of the players, the sort of players around him. He doesn't have to step up every single game. And to be fair, when it's something that we don't necessarily talk about with Elevate enough. It's just any single one of these players can just go off at any given time. I don't think people understand just exactly how much firepower this team has on it.
Yeah, although there's some players that have proved to be more consistent than others. Vetro's that standout.
Yeah, Vetro, Ox over the seasons. Well, we are going to be joined by Comps now for a winner interview. No surprise.
So that did not go as well as was expected, Comps. That was a 5-1. What happened, man? You guys dropped the ball.
Yeah, RNG happened. That Muro defense. I mean, a lot of missed shots. Vetro had a dead gunner, and then Dodo got lit up on fire. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's things you can't really do.
What's your personal stance on bringing rations over perhaps a med kit?
Personally, I hate it. I think you should have fire extinguisher, a med kit, and a rep kit. But a lot of guys like to bring in the rations and I guess make do without a fire extinguisher or as some do without a med kit. And I think that's like worst case scenario is you lose a gunner, you lose your commander, you're basically a useless tank. You get lit on fire. I mean that's a lot of HP that just melts away. So you might as well just be safe and not have that little advantage than not have an advantage at all if your entire crew's dead.
Yep. All right, Comps. The next question is going to go to big picture here. We were just talking, you guys are pretty much undefeated for the last year, basically now, with the exception of the international stage. Who in NA can take you guys down? Who are you fearing playing at the finals, if anyone?
Who can? I mean, no one really, because no one's putting the time in. Maybe a team like Top Tier, if they get it together. they've got the player skill to basically carry games right now. But if they were playing, I guess, more consistent as a team, they'd be a threat. But other than that, I mean, in terms of player skill and in terms of like team cohesion, I don't think anyone could match us.
Not right now.
Yeah,
we'll see.
It's hard to argue that. Yeah. All right, Comps, any final thoughts for your fans out there?
No, I mean, thanks for watching, and guys, I hope you enjoyed the show.
All right, thank you very much. As always, Comps, and once again, congratulations. We will see you next week. So, no surprise there, and it's hard to argue with the logic. I mean, they're sitting up there nice and pretty right now. They're going to have a still their 9-point lead. No one, Eclipse and Dare both picked up wins today.
Speaking of that 9-point lead, let's go ahead and look at the standings. We've got Elevate with a clean 30 points. Dare with 21. Eclipse still 1 point behind them with 20. Top tier now breaking into 4th place very cleanly with 15. Teal Team 6 will have 12. Aquatic with 10. F7 with 9. And 07 still sitting on their happy little 3 points.
Yeah, well, no one wants to be, so F7 and 07 want to be in that 6th place spot, but no one else wants to be in that 6th place spot because they have to play either Dare or Eclipse in the online playoffs, and that's a seeding.
Eclipse are top tier.
Oh yeah, excuse me, Eclipse. Well, no, because Eclipse or Dare may switch around is my point, based upon who can overpass who. So, that's the 3rd place seed. They'll play the 6th place seed in the online playoffs, and either of those teams, none of the other 4 are going to want to play them. That's what I'm getting at. It's
fair, yeah.
Not anywhere you want to be.
It sucks to be the lower seed. Who thought?
Yeah, fair. All right, guys. Well, that about does it for us tonight. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at WGLNA. Send us the memes, your thoughts, predictions for the next match days, whatever it is. Also, make sure you follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/WGLNA for the Facebook Live pre-show every single match day, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. We'll give you guys all the fantasy advice that we can, go over map picks, answer any questions just about the league or World of Tanks in general. We'd love to just chit-chat with you guys for a little bit. So make sure you check it out. And speaking of fantasy...
Yep, go to fantasytanks.com, win piles of gold, type 59s, and may all your dreams come true. fantasytanks.com.
All right, guys. Well, Randall, you have any final thoughts for the night overall?
Nope. Exactly how I thought it would go, with slight variation.
Pretty much. All right, guys, that does it for us today. Make sure you guys tune back in next Tuesday for Match Day 11. Until then, I've been James Rockstar Grieve. That has been Randall Rookhill Holcomb. Have a good night, everybody.